I did the most obvious thing. I did my MBA and yeah. Dude, MBAs are amazing, man.
Welcome. Oh. Arey, great this side. Come.
So every time I see this video, it gives me goosebumps. Good afternoon, everyone at Ignite Season 3. Each and every one of you who's joining us today would have heard about MBA is the best 2 years of your life. Or these 2 years are going to change the way you will look at your career in future. In whatever combinations or permutations you use these words, I'm sure they're true. And with that, Dare to Compete and I take pleasure in welcoming the next batch of MBA students who will start their best part of their life, which is next 2 years of their journey. And whatever be it in your preschool life, Dare to Compete will stand tall with you, be it competitions, be it placements, internship interviews, inspiration stories, motivation stories, even hiring. And why this day? Why did we choose 14th June as the day? One, it was coinciding with the batch opening because all the colleges are opening later this week or next week. However, today is the day in 2016 that D2C formally took shape as the technology and full-fledged platform with 3 full-time employees. So yes, today is Dare to Compete's birthday. And my heartfelt gratitude to every one of you who have made this ecosystem possible. At a tender age of 5, D2C stands tall. And with this, we have a special surprise for you before we move into our first panel discussion of the day. The D2C Ignite Hunt. As the name suggests, this is a treasure hunt. This is just to engage you. And while you are listening to us, you have various options to win 60 gift hampers sponsored by RPG, ITC, Reckitt, and Aditya Birla Group. What you need to do is on the official page of Ignite, there is a D2C Ignite Hunt join button. You just click on it. There will be 3 levels. Every level will have about 5 or 6 questions. You need to answer the first question correctly in order to move on to the second question. And that's why it's called a treasure hunt. The questions are very, very interesting. Trust me, you will love going through that treasure hunt. And let me give you a hint. All the treasure hunt questions are related to what we will be discussing here or are related to the companies that you see here. Most of it, if not all. And after every panel, I will also be disclosing the top 20 people who have made it to each level. And the hints for some of those questions will come below this screen as we move along in the treasure hunt. And mind you, when we say we have 60 gift hampers, we will be giving 1 gift hamper to 1 person. So if you were in top 20 for level 1 and you were in top 20 for level 3, you will be given a level 3 hamper rather than a level 1 hamper. And we will give the 21st person in level 1 the gift hamper. This is just to ensure that we basically give gifts to as many people as possible. All right. So all the best. Here's your first question. We eat it, we pay it, but the first brand that comes to your mind is not it. Name the 6-letter telecom brand we are talking about. I'm sure few of you would have guessed it. This is the easiest question. I mean, the level 1 itself is easy. All the best. Try it out. Now, let me go into our first panel discussion of the day. We will have deep conversations on various leadership programs and general management profiles being offered by big diversified Indian groups, as well as top e-commerce firms that we have. And to discuss all of this, we have with us today Mohammad Irfan, who is portfolio manager and credit analyst, fixed income investments with Aditya Birla Group. We have Mitranjan Baduri. He is the head of category sales and marketing for Amazon Business Marketplace. Then we have Akriti Agarwal. She is associate director, growth marketing and planning at Flipkart. Then we have Venkatraman Prabhu, known as Venki, who is AVP and head IT strategy and planning, Geo Platforms Limited at Reliance. And the last on the panel is Milind Apte. He is CHRO, C8 Limited, RPG Group. And last but not the least, I'll be the moderator of this panel. Now, whenever we talk about leadership programs or general management profile, the first thing that you will hear about is that these programs are the best stepping stone for anybody's career because they give you multiple opportunities. So let me address this particular aspect first, and let me come to you, Venki. What is so different about these leadership programs in different companies, and especially at Reliance, and why are they treated as the best stepping stones for a student's career?
So first up, thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here. And in August company, really. So see, my view on this is kind of simple. With respect to leadership programs, typically organizations, look to leadership in a very, future sort of view, with a future viewpoint. So essentially, they are looking to identify young, leadership talent early and groom them into the future leaders of the company. At least that's the philosophy we follow at Reliance. And we have a very strong Reliance Emerging Leaders program. It's been running in some shape or form for the last past decade, in fact, from 2011 onwards. And essentially, the ingredients, the core ingredients haven't changed. We have actually made enhancements based on our learning in the past, decade as to how these. In 2018, there was a major revamp that we did to the program. But essentially, the core ingredient is this: we are looking to, people who demonstrate, specific leadership traits. Now, we understand that, there are a lot of skills you can learn. There are a lot of skills that you can, you go to an MBA program, you learn about business skills and, various other skills. But leadership is something that can only come from practical experience. So we basically have three elements to this. We believe in exposure. So, exposure to various circumstances, live situations. So the leadership program that Reliance runs, the Reliance Emerging Leaders program, has a significant focus on providing, young MBAs and people who have probably not had that much of a exposure to corporate life, get into the thick of, critical projects that Reliance has. And it's what we have realized over the past few years is that it is actually a game changer for us, because we get the best of both worlds. These new people who join us, the aspiring leaders who join us, they get exposure to real life critical projects, and we, on the other hand, get a lot of fresh ideas, fresh thinking, great new blood coming into the organization and shaking things up. Second is we focus a lot on learning, and this is again very pragmatic, practical learning. So the REL program gives a lot of opportunities to these people to actually upskill in various aspects of leadership and general management. And the third most important aspect is that we, truly believe that Reliance is a family, right? First. So essentially, these selected, Reliance Emerging Leaders get to connect with senior leaders, top leaders. In fact, even the chairman meets with them, and you have small events right through the years, and something as simple as coffee with a leader or lunch with a leader, or there are a lot of things that they do which actually give them a practical view on how a leader behaves, and in the daily corporate life. Now, of course, with this whole pandemic situation, we have had to adapt a bit. and most of this is virtual now. Earlier it was more of a physical connect, but we have tried to ensure that the flavor does not get diluted through that. I think that is crucial. I think these three aspects are what sort of put Rel slightly
And
apart
Pinky,
from
how
others.
much time do you give them in terms of what is the overall stint of a person who's entering at Reliance for the leadership program?
Yeah, so they are given specific projects like I mentioned. So there are basically minimum of 2 projects, 6 month stints, which they so they are based on the key projects that are available at a given point in time. They are assigned these projects, and they are given a mentor and a buddy as well in the project. The buddy is typically to help them navigate the, because they're new to the culture, they are new to the environment, so they help them. And the mentor is basically who will be responsible for their growth and their
They'll have at
progression.
least a year before they actually make
Oh
it.
yeah. 1 year of rigorous intensive, that's the Rel program. And of course, after the Rel program, there are many other internal initiatives that they are then available, they are available to them to take up, pursue, like the career acceleration program, and there are many such things. So that's very interesting. Yeah.
Okay, thanks Venki. My next question is to you, Irfan. In terms of Aditya Birla Group, just like other conglomerates as well, your companies range from fashion to construction to insurance and whatnot, right? In the same leadership program, how does that program look different for these companies within Aditya Birla Group?
Thank you for having me, and good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of Aditya Birla Group, welcome to the program. So on this topic, right? How does leadership differ with different group companies? The same leadership program. See, every large group has companies and businesses which are at various stages. So some are mature, some are young and growing, some are global, some are extremely local. So to that extent, the challenges that are faced by these companies are very different, and the kind of leadership skills that are required to kind of crack those problems and solve them are also very different. So, but that does not mean that, you only need one kind of leaders, right? Which is why, almost all the companies that are on this panel, they have what are called as general management programs. So if you say fashion versus construction, so, I would just recall that, when I did my project or first year stint in Ultratech Cement way back in 2013, my project was on digital strategy for a cement company. So that was like really unheard of at that time in 2013. Today, of course, everyone has a well thought of digital strategy. But what I'm trying to say is that even in companies where you feel that there is probably not a particular space to do something which you feel is there in another business sector, that is not true. As far as large groups are concerned, they require talent in all kinds of functions throughout the group. Fashion to construction to metals, you do require the same kind of skill sets, maybe in different measures at different points in time, but it's essentially similar. So in Aditya Birla Group's leadership program, what we have is an immersion, just like how my peer Venkat was talking about. We would have the first year, you would be doing 3 stints of 4 months each. So this will be in different functions, different businesses, and for some of them in different geographies across the world. So the idea is for you to immerse yourself, get exposed as much as you can and learn. Now, there are some businesses within the Aditya Birla Group where you would need specialist skills also. So, for example, retail. So they do have their own kind of hiring, and even telecom. They had their own kind of hiring where they would target their own set of B schools and their specific kind of talent. But conceptually, what I wanted to drive home the point is that it doesn't mean that a leadership program is geared towards a manufacturing sector or a services sector or a retail sector. No, it's all skill set oriented. So it's about developing the right skill set and ensuring that a leadership talent pool it's fungible. So that's the basic philosophy, at least at the Aditya Birla Group.
Sure, thanks. And Milind, let me come back to you and extend this same question, because at RPG, you also hire for some specialized roles. So for example, in CET itself, you hire for sales and marketing roles, right? How do you differentiate or distinguish between the career path of these two roles?
So thank you and good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for inviting me to this esteemed forum. And so, Ankit, just to answer, while we have entry, which we have for specific functions, we really make career fungible in CET or RPG, right? So I think the idea is you have an entry point into sales and marketing, but if you look at character and competence, I think our entire drive is towards building character along with competence. And the idea is to really move people from one function to other. So somebody may come in sales and marketing and there is movement every 2 years. It's mandatory movement every 2 years. And we, in fact, in our management committee, we track every campus recruit. And if there is no movement beyond 2 years, there are hard questions. And movement happens practically immediately, right? So I think it's diverse experience, and the entire character demonstrated by the new entrant is what we see. We have many successful examples of people who have transitioned from HR GMR program and have become head of international business. And similarly, one of my quality assurance management trainees is my factory HR head in my Nagpur factory today, right? So I think career, for sure, if somebody demonstrates right character along with the competence, one can assume the CXO position in 12 to 13 years. We have a very, very recent example of one of my colleagues becoming a CHR of one of our group companies in exactly 12 years after she joined as a management graduate, right? And again, I think just to narrate, its entry point is X, but we encourage people to practically move functions because the entire focus is on building general management capability, true fungibility, as Irfan also spoke about it, and at the same time having excessive importance on character, which we want people to demonstrate.
Okay, thank you so much. Just to tell everybody, we have about 1,600 people playing the treasurant, and about half of them have moved on to multiple questions. Coming to you, Akriti. So we have had 3 diversified big groups talking about the leadership program. And e-commerce companies have created a big wave in the job market in the recent past. And now all you e-commerce firms are also shifting from specific roles to a general management program, right? What is the difference in a similar role in a new age company like yours versus traditional conglomerates?
Sure. So thanks, Ankit, and good afternoon, everybody. So yeah, there is, if we talk about e-commerce and Flipkart in specific, right, it's a very, very fast-paced environment. Things are rapidly evolving. We learn things and, we evaluate things on the go. So there is extremely high level of ownership that we place on our new hires. Very big scale problems that we encourage each of our management trainees to exhibit early on. In our company, no matter what level you join at, each person is here to make a difference, and even the problems will be very, very real business problems, right? So with very high level of ownership is one. And secondly, we also encourage mobility. In fact, for the management trainees, there are already 2 stints that are planned within different functions, different businesses. And we have a wide range of functions and businesses ranging from, sales, marketing, planning, analytics, business finance, supply chain. So many, many different roles and functions. So yeah, we do encourage mobility for our management trainees, and even as a part of Flipkart, in no matter which stage you are in, whether it is even the leaders, there is mobility across functions and teams and businesses that we actually pride ourselves in, right? So we create a all-rounded experience or exposure or understanding of e-commerce for anybody who joins us at Flipkart. So these are the two things that are very different: extremely fast-paced and therefore extremely high ownership, and secondly, very high mobility, and encourage you to take whatever you could get on your plate and exhibit your skills, and show that entrepreneurial spirit in you in different functions and teams.
I think one distinct factor in the e-commerce, or rather, let me make it generic, right? In the startup community, where you're actually getting into a new industry or a segment itself, that whether you are a newbie in the company, the experienced people are also learning with you because the market itself is evolving. So you may not get that kind of a helping hand that you get in traditional businesses because they've seen decades of learning and growth, right? Coming to you, Mitranjan. So last year, you basically created Amazon Future Builders program on similar lines. I know for a fact, because we've been working with Amazon, that this is my personal experience. In last year, I guess, when we were for summers at Ahmedabad, Amazon was there hiring for multiple roles, right? Product manager, program manager, AWS. And I think starting last year, you basically put that across into one role, which is Amazon Future Builders program. So what kind of a value do you provide with this kind of an approach to the students? And what value do you drive from this program as a company?
Yeah, thank you, Ankit. And first off, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here in such esteemed company. At Amazon, pretty much everything that we do is customer backwards, right? We pride ourselves in being a customer-obsessed company. So this entire piece of developing AFBP, or Amazon Future Builders program, actually took inspiration from what we were seeing on campus, what we were hearing from our customers, which in this case are the MBA students. And we realized that they see a significantly greater degree of assurance in being in a program that provides them a structured growth path as opposed to standalone roles. So the intent in creating this program was to provide specifically that value. And we also took inspiration from some of the really successful Amazonians and the experiences that they have been through that have helped shape those competencies which are required to, let's say, lead a business at Amazon. That was the genesis, and what it ultimately boiled down to was, hey, what we are trying to do is set these folks who join AFBP up for long-term success in Amazon. And we could identify certain pillars, and those pillars are very common to what, let's say, Venki spoke of or Irfan spoke of. In our case, there were four. One, on the job, and there isn't really a substitute to on the job learning. So we do put them in multiple stints where they face real world business problems and solve for them. It gives them that actual real world exposure that, as you said, their colleagues who are the more experienced colleagues have also been dealing with. Two, we realize that many of these folks come with possibly less work experience, and throwing them at the deep end of the pool right at the start might be a little overwhelming. And for that, what we've done is we've created a 2-month incubator right at the start of AFBP, where we introduce them to certain concepts that are peculiarly Amazonian and it takes to succeed at Amazon. Maybe thinking backwards or thinking scale, building mechanisms. And at the same time, I think Venki was also mentioning this, there has to be an immersive functional upskilling that we provide to these participants so that they're equipped to take on these different leadership roles that they're being thrust into. Third, we have the benefit of leadership experience. So we get them to come and interact with candidates on a regular basis and talk to them about how Amazon innovates on behalf of customers. What are those uniquely cultural traits that allow us to think long term and use technology to transform millions of lives that Amazon is transforming worldwide. And finally, we felt there was a personal touch needed. And this is a personal touch that many of us Amazonians have benefited from, which is the personal touch of mentorship. I think Milind and Irfan also alluded to that. The idea being that every AFBP participant is assigned a mentor from the exact same function, kind of makes them a kindred spirit to bounce off ideas fast. As you mentioned, there are a lot of these things we are learning on the go. It's a significantly ambiguous environment, and it fosters a spirit of collective learning as we go towards it. So, in short, we are providing these pillars to help candidates shape their careers into future builders at Amazon. And at the same time, we are learning from their diverse experiences that they are bringing to the table.
Sure. And
diverse ideas.
How long is your Future Builders program for students? Before
this is a 32-month program.
Select one career choice?
Yeah, this is a 32-month program. We start them off with a 2-month incubator, and then we have multiple stints rotating them across different roles.
Okay, all right, right. And also, let me also sort of throw this question again to you, Mithranjan. So lately, okay, off late, I've been seeing many companies. So when anybody on campus thinks about marketing, they think about FMCG. But off late, in the new age companies and all startups like Amazon, Cred, Dunzo, Zomato have been pushing the envelope when it comes to marketing, those viral campaigns, those creative, right? And this shift is also happening from FMCG to new age companies. Is this the reason why aspiring marketers have started preferring new age companies over traditional companies? At least when we talk about this segment.
Yeah, interesting question. I mean, if I were to talk about what shapes my preference for a role, it would be two things. One, is this role allowing me to evolve with the industry and hopefully even stay ahead of the curve? And number two, is this role allowing me to make a meaningful impact to the growth of my organization? Let me double click on the first point, right? All of us know and acknowledge that customer behavior has evolved. Their media and content consumption habits have evolved. Over 500 million Indians now own a smartphone. Approximately 80% of them are online. And I think new age marketing firms provide two very important levers for us to be able to keep pace with this evolution. One is data, and the other is technology. And why are they important? See, in an ideal world for a marketer, every communication should ideally be one-to-one with the customer rather than the traditional one-to-many means of communication. Right? And we at new age firms have the ability to collect massive amounts of information about customers, their preferences, their behavior, and then can use analytics or ML models to accurately and granularly segment customers and then target them with very personalized communication. And it's not that we're abandoning the traditional means of marketing, right? We're just clubbing them with the new age techniques to create an integrated marketing strategy. So for example, when Amazon is trying to communicate that we have massive selection, not only do we use a campaign like Or Dikhao, but we can also use much more personal techniques like sending a push notification saying, hey, you bought an iPhone. You might want to check out these iPhone cases. And now coming on to the second point, which is the growth part of it. I think more and more in new age firms, marketers are responsible not just for delivering impressions, but they're responsible for delivering customers. They're responsible for delivering revenue and growth. You will frequently see such marketers chart out GTM strategies that will influence how the organization drives growth. So much so that at least in the new age companies, I see marketing managers more as growth managers.
And I think nowadays what's also happening is that somehow when you're interacting with the users or the consumers, you're also inherently informing them about your culture because they're interacting with you on a day-to-day basis. Venki, let me come to you. I mean, Reliance has been there for decades now. Okay. And you have been sort of shifting, or I would say vibrantly changing your culture to a startup culture. I know Reliance is startup at heart, right? What initiatives have you taken so that that is also communicated to the student community?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Interesting question. I think as I was thinking through, a lot resonated with what Mitranjan was mentioning regarding, the need for the new emerging leaders to sort of be in tune with what's happening, and so, because everything is changing so quickly. And you're right. Reliance has always been, an entrepreneurial sort of culture at heart, and because our founder chairman said, think fast, think big, think ahead, ideas are no one's monopoly. And that's sort of a mantra that we, I think, follow quite religiously. uh, all leaders, and I'm not just talking about new MBAs joining, all emerging leaders, I'm talking about just all leaders, all employees in the organization are encouraged to sort of find their entrepreneurial spirit, right? Do intrapreneurship, if you will, identify opportunities that can enhance certain businesses, or even find new channels of, new channels for revenue generation. And these kind of things are encouraged. We have a portal called Mission Kurukshetra, which is highly successful. It was, I think, in the news also recently for some awards that it received for, fostering the entrepreneurial spirit within the company. And that's actually one of the initiatives. The other thing is that we have realized that our young guns are the ones with a lot of new ideas, with sort of, uh, the ability to challenge us and challenge the way we are doing things, the status quo, and bring in new ways of things. So we have also leveraged, there's the ultimate pitch. I'm sure you're aware of that. The ultimate pitch is a
We do.
B school competition. Yeah, you, I think, partner with us on that. So so the ultimate pitch has also, what it has done for us is twofold. One, it is of course a B school competition, so it gives opportunities to the various B school aspirants, I mean B school MBA grads out there, to showcase their skills and their talent. But when that competition comes home and when we hold it in house, I mean, it actually sparks off a lot of entrepreneurship within the organization as well. It's a win-win actually, in a way. And internally we also have a lot of initiatives that happen from time to time, which actually allow, in fact, in the Reliance Emerging Leaders program, there are the projects that these emerging leaders are put on are also of of that nature, because we have to look for, the criteria is very simple: something that can actually be executed within a 6-month time frame, right, which is relevant to the organization, and which allows the Reliance Emerging Leader to bring their own entrepreneurial spirit to the table. So it is these criteria that are, very carefully, though we curate these projects very carefully based on these criteria. All in all, I think, Reliance, and I've been with Reliance for almost a decade now, 9 years, and what I've seen is really amazing, is because, I've actually been a consultant, and I've seen uh, at least 9 or 10 Fortune 100 companies and various MNCs. And what really amazed me about Reliance, and which is something that is very unique about Reliance, is that it is truly committed to this spirit of entrepreneurship within the organization. It is absolutely committed, all the leaders. So in a sense, even if you have a very senior leader sitting in the room with you, and discussing a certain idea, the young leader out there, the emerging leader, or a young employee who is there, has, and this I can speak from experience, we never feel the need to hold back, right? So the culture is such that it fosters a sense of entrepreneurship. It allows ideas to flow smoothly, and we have a lot of constructs that support that idea itself.
You know what? I mean, in one of our brainstorming meetings, and this is, I think, a couple of years back when I was at Reliance, we were constantly talking about entrepreneurs. Okay. And somebody from the senior leadership program talked about that, hey, let's not define people as entrepreneurs, right? Let's try and inculcate a feeling or entrepreneurial mindset. And that is what these leadership programs are all about. Okay.
Uh,
Coming to you, Milan. The experience that one gets in a leadership program varies from company to company, right? The journey that they can actually expect in a leadership program varies from company to company, that we have seen here itself, right? All of you have different programs catering to different skill sets because you're from different backgrounds. Now, what is a journey like at RPG, and how do you make it unique? So that that person is basically inclined towards making his career within RPG itself. Milind,
Right.
are you with us?
Ankit, yeah, I can. I lost the last part of the question.
So I was saying that how do you make it unique? How do you make your leadership program unique for RPG?
So apart from, I think the standard 1 year induction, which has many cross-functional stints, we have a unique value proposition called the FLB, Future Leadership Board. And again, as Venki was speaking about, I think I was quite intrigued to know what Reliance is doing. Future Leadership Board is all about picking live projects which are extremely business critical. So, for example, some of the big decisions which business wants to make, and let's say take example of CEAT, and if you want to really spread ourselves in USA and we want to go and roll out a truck bus radial tire, should we be getting into it because it's massive investment over a period of time? Now, these are the kind of projects which are being anchored, driven by these young campus graduates, right? And people get about 3 months. So as Venki spoke of 6 months, I think what we do is we have 3-month project and 3 by 3. So it's 3 projects of 3 months duration, directly anchored by the management committee, nobody in between. And these guys have to come back once every month, speak about the progress, nobody involved in between. It's an agile team. They're empowered to make choices. So if you see the entire learning part, this is how exactly people move. We have made many functions fungible. So for example, you have manufacturing, supply chain, procurement as one group, right? And what we do is every 2 years, we are moving people from one function to other function. We have within RPG, we encourage GMR fungibility across group companies. So wherever we find synergy, so for example, HR, you will see a lot of people moving across group companies. Procurement, you will see a lot of people. Supply chain, you will see a lot of people moving across group companies. Now, what this does is it gives a lot of visibility to respective management committees of the entire GMR talent pool which is available with us. And what we have also done is, because the character of every sector is different, and we are a very varied group of companies, we wanted to just make sure that the GMRs of any particular group company do not succeed or grow much faster than any other group company, right? So I think what we have done is we have a framework also across the group companies, and provided there is right competence and right character, people grow in a standard framework. And the example which I gave, that you have an opportunity of actually taking a CXO role of a smaller company within RPG in 12 to 13 years, right? So I think the way I would define it is, for GMRs, the ask is a lot. It's tough. It's challenging. We really push them very hard. Our belief is we want to really test their character from stint to stint. Obviously, I won't talk about reward recognition and everything else, which comes at standard. I think we make sure it's honored exceedingly well. But I think it's a lot of push, a lot of hard stints, but with extremely handsome reward in the end. It's all action learning.
Good. Milind, because you talked about CXOs, Irfan, my next question is to you. Many a times on campuses, see, it's all about glamour. I mean, when you enter into a B school, the glamour is that you go to MBB for consulting, or you will become a CXO or a CEO one day of any company, right? And that is the intention of people joining these leadership programs, very frankly, right? So how do you manage these expectations and growth for an incoming MT?
I do agree with you on the point that there's a certain amount of so-called glamour attached to securing your fastest route into the CX or the boardroom. But the thing is that for most students, those who realize early on that it's not a race to the top, but it's about building the right set of skill sets, which I've been highlighting earlier also, that it's all about skill sets, right? Today, information is available. You most probably don't need to be on this panel if you want to know what are the Group leadership programs. There's a website for it. So, information is available, learning's available. So every finance course, every marketing course is out there. So what you learn from an MBA and then what you learn in a company are basically skill sets as to how to apply them in real life, right? Like as our panelists have been talking about. So it's not really easy to tell someone that, hey, you know what, it's probably going to take you 10 years or like 20 years to become a CXO. Because that's not the right answer. There are CXOs there are people who started as CXOs, right? From in today's entrepreneurship world. So the idea is we do not tell people that, you need to spend about 10 or 12 years or 15 years to become CXOs. So that's not the way we manage expectations. What we tell them is that, okay, do you have XYZ skill sets? Okay. Yes, no, some of them partially. And for those where you're partial and what you don't have, these are the kind of opportunities that we have. So some might be cross-functional, it might be really challenging for you. Some might be cross-business. And some, you because at the end of the day, it's not, as you move up the ladder, you will realize across companies that it's about making people work with you, right, to achieve results. So you might be a great individual contributor, which is what MBA schools kind of hone people to, be good at, through our GPAs and our, assignments. We always are said that, okay, what's your GPA, and what was your 10 standard marks. But later on in life, you realize that to grow, you need to make sure you work with people. So all of this comes with working in a firm through various roles. So as you build these different skill sets, some functional, some behavioral, then yes, you would become a CXO. It's a natural, because let's understand the other main thing which I wanted to highlight is that 50 years or 100 years ago, there used to be family-run businesses. Capital wasn't so fungible over the world. Today, capital and CHROs like Milind Apte will find the right talent. So everyone is mark to market, today. So there needs to be, there's nobody who's stopping you, from achieving what you could, versus hundreds and thousands of years before us. There was so many. There were capital constraints, there were social constraints, there were education constraints. Today, all of that is breaking down at an extremely fast pace. So to someone who's coming to Aditya Birla Group and saying, hey, can I be a CXO in 10 years? I'll be like, hey, you could be in like 3 years if you have it in you. But do you have it in you? And can you prove it to everyone? And can you drive results? That's the question, which ABG, Reliance, Flipkart, Amazon, RPG, every company out there is asking. And they want the talent who can do that. That's it. It's simple as that.
Sure. Thank you. Akriti, let me first ask you an audience question. So Sneha from the audience is asking you, and I quote, I'm from a hotel management background, and what are my prospects of getting selected for your program? And what to do if you don't visit my campus? We don't know which campus Sneha is from. So that's why I'm assuming that she would have done her homework. But what's your response to her?
Sure. So, Sneha, thanks for your question. So again, we at Flipkart, we believe in diversity, right? Diversity in multiple aspects, right? Multiple diversity, be it from your background, not just gender, right? Typically, people believe diversity is just gender diversity, but we think we go much beyond that, right? Whether it's your educational background, your work experience background, or your thought process, or the company you come from. Everything is we're very flexible, and we are a very diverse organization. We have very diverse roles as well. So it doesn't matter whether you're from a hotel management background or any other background for that matter, right? We believe that if you have the right intrinsics, you can succeed, right? And some of the key intrinsics that we believe that we need at Flipkart is, one, very strong bias for action, right? A person who has the will, who has the inclination, who has the right mindset to run towards the targeted goals. That's one. We want people who are very, very customer centric, everything in our business revolves around customers. As I said, it's very fast paced, so we need to understand what our customer preferences are, and emulate or actually offer the customers what is changing by the day, right? So be very customer first. Bias for action background absolutely is doesn't matter. It's the right intrinsics. You if you want to succeed, you will succeed with the right intrinsics.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Akriti. Okay, let me ask you one question each, the same question, okay? Because I think this is very, very point blank, though it is not framed in that manner, but when students will hear it, they will get to know. So this question, I'll start with you, Venki, and I'm just reading out the question. If you were to hire an animal, what kind of animal would you hire and why? 3 qualities of that animal that should resonate within a candidate. How do you identify these qualities in the CV and or through interactions with that candidate?
Wow.
So first, you need to tell what 3 qualities. So eventually, what animal, which 3 qualities, and how would you identify those 3 qualities?
All right. Very interesting question. Well, see, quite honestly, this is a personal opinion that the human being is probably the worst animal out there. But I'm going to sort of maybe make a choice from I'm allowed to take up some prehistoric animal, right?
Yeah, any. You only have a minute to answer.
Wonderful.
That's
Okay. So for me, I think it should be a velociraptor. Have you heard of that? The raptor?
Oh.
I'll tell you basically 3 things, that just pop into my mind when I think about a raptor. They're intelligent, smart, and goal driven, right? They look at, so if you are on the hit list of a raptor, then and I don't think anything can save you. Essentially, they are very goal driven and very perseverant, right? They don't give up easily. They're very intelligent. Most importantly, they work superbly in a team, right? Collaborate superbly. They utilize their strengths effectively, identify weaknesses in the target and leverage those. So those are the qualities, really, quite honestly. So you got to be smart, got to know your own weaknesses and strengths. You got to be able to work in a team. You should be able to collaborate really well, right? And you should be very perseverant and fanatical about a goal that you want to achieve, right? You have to have that vision and you have to be able to have the wherewithal to pursue that vision. I think that's what it is.
And how do you see that in a CV? Because
that's very tricky to answer within a minute. But I'll tell you this: CVs are not something that we put too much stock into. I'll tell you why. Because there are a lot of consulting firms out there who will make a wonderful CV. I mean, you wouldn't believe your own CV once you've gone through that. If you send it through there. So CVs are not really what we look for. Quite honestly, is the attitude, and we do behavioral interviews, and we look at the candidate, the kind of experience the candidate has been through, and most importantly, in any circumstance, what we dive into is how have they responded. If they have made a mistake, I mean, it's okay to make mistakes. I mean, failures are stepping stones, right? I mean, we don't have anything against failures, but people who kind of hide their failures or are ashamed of their failures are typically not really leadership material. You got to be able to accept your failures, learn from them. So we really look at how the candidate has taken every opportunity that has come his or her way, and how they have responded to critical situations, crisis situations. How is their way of thinking? How do they approach certain problems and situations? Those are the key things that we look for before we hire, and we look for that specifically from a leadership potential standpoint.
Sure. Irfan, your response to the same question: animal and 3 qualities.
If Venki can go for prehistoric, I'd go for something which doesn't probably exist, a dragon, but then, because, MVP, right? You're a dragon, you're MVP. So, but then, to kind of, in the spirit of discussion, it'd probably be an elephant. So, because I think that, most of the qualities of an elephant are geared towards both the survival of its own species, as well as contribution to, sustainable contribution to the environment and, people at large. So because an elephant can be in the wild, it can be, it can be domesticated, it can be, venerated. It's also extremely strong, extremely intelligent, has a great memory. doesn't destroy the lands that it roams in, knows how to work in teams, takes care of its young. It's an animal which I genuinely love, but I know your next question: how will I find one in a CV, right? So I think when I look at a candidate, right, like just like Venki said, it's about attitude, and most people talk about culture now. So culture eats both strategy
Sorry.
and.
I'll tell you what. The next thing that the students would be thinking is that you're saying that nothing happens in a CV. Then how do you shortlist us? Or when we apply at 500,
No, I'll tell you.
how do you shortlist me?
Okay, so okay, so this I realized quite maybe 2-3 years after my B school. So just sharing it here. So all your all your GPAs and all your pointers, everything. What are you doing? You just it's all signaling, right? So all you're trying to do is that, given on a ceteris paribus basis, given all else is equal, because we assume that anyone who's cracked any of these campuses we are going into is intelligent, is probably hardworking, and has most of the other skills that we want. So then how do we move to the next stage? So ceteris paribus, these are the signaling factors that you use in a CV, and that's all a CV is. So of course you need to make, once you go to B school, you'll understand, oh, it is a one-page CV, 4-box CV, all of that jazz will come in, but just understand at the base of it, it's just a signaling effect, right? So once you go through the door into an interview, or even in a career, you are the CV. That's it. The paper is just for you to signal that, hey, you know what? Look at me first. That's about it.
I will try and choose somebody who is known. I've been struggling with this question, but I think what comes looking at RPG and what we are really looking at, what comes to my mind is a horse. And, I particularly resonate with the tenacity. You see a horse practically in every war, which we have seen traditionally, right? And the kind of tenacity, no fear, they're out there, they're leading from, actually they are the vehicle to carry all the aspirations and the wherewithal and the power and the aggression. The second one which I see in them is agility, right? They're very agile. So they're able to change direction very, very quickly, gain momentum, and the kind of stamina they bring on board is unthinkable. And very focused. They don't look left and right, and they don't compare themselves with anyone. I think that's the big one I would look at. Because if you see B school particularly, I think my biggest worry when I look at B school, and Irfan was referring to the CV right now. Now you pick any CV, it all looks the same. And if you bring a lot of focus on extracurricular activities, everybody has been a part of some or the other group, right? So how do you really differentiate? So focus, what focus really means is you really don't get into competition at all. There's the one thing which B school brings on board is only heavy competition, right? And like Mohammed Irfan spoke about and Venki spoke about, how do we actually bring the spirit of team? So will you bring focus and really look at what's your potential and what you can deliver very honestly without looking left and right? I think that's something I would bring on board personally. So three big ones. And probing, I resonate with Venki. So I think it's deep probing, as Venki was really speaking about. To my mind, it's understanding the ups and downs in a candidate's life. I think it's in true sense understanding the experiences, responses, and the way people have really fought against the odds. I think that's something we go very, very deep into. So probing is a big one in our mind.
Okay. All right. Coming to you, Mitranjan, only 1 minute.
Yeah. So see, Aristotle didn't philosophize for nothing. If people like me were to not use his words to wriggle out of difficult situations like this, right? He said man is a social animal. So I'm going to go with that safe answer and pick human beings here, right? And I'll cut to the chase. Like, what are these qualities, right? I'll merge the two answers. I think what Amazon looks for are 14 leadership principles, which give us exactly as Irfan was saying, a signal of how they are suited to work in Amazon and grow as a long-term bet in Amazon. Now, if it's an onerous task to distill that into three qualities, but I'm nevertheless going to try. The first one, I think, is humility. Humility to say that we can be wrong. Humility to say that we are never done learning, so we should keep learning. In my mind, the second one is the risk-taking ability, the ability to and the gumption to fail. Because if we are not failing, we are not doing enough new things. And the third one, to not just think about themselves, but think about others too. And others in this situation would be the customers. Others would be their overall company. Think of it as an owner. I think all of this comes together in what Jeff Bezos always maintains is the singular trait of any good leader. It is the ability to be right a lot. So that's what I had.
Thanks. Akriti, coming to you with this last question.
Yeah. So if I were to answer in a minute, I would choose a very different animal. I thought of an ant. An ant is a very small animal, right? It's a tiny animal, but it makes a lot of difference, right? So it doesn't matter which level you are at, right? Where you join. How senior, how junior, whether you're a management trainee, whether you're the CEO, right? Everybody here is going to make a difference, right? So that's what I fundamentally believe in. I've also been with Flipkart for about 6 years now. And I've seen that in every step of my journey, right? Even early on, I come from a consulting background, have also worked with multiple companies, but I feel, the fun is when really the rubber hits the road, right? So you see a lot of action, you contribute in that action, and that's what I feel ants really do. They in The second thing that stands out is that they work in teams, right? Nobody succeeds standalone, right? They cannot make a difference standalone. So at Flipkart also, I believe that the difference that we make is only when people come together, cross functional teams work cohesively, with different objectives, but kind of the same end goal, right? So that's the second thing. From a CV standpoint, agree with Irfan and with Ranjan that many things in your CV are just lead indicators, but also participating in real life problems, case studies, or for that matter, showing working in environments that requires you to work in teams, solve a certain problem collectively versus just individually, right? Because eventually, it's a team that it succeeds. It's not just the leader, right? A leader will never succeed without a team. Right. So we want people who can work in teams, work together, work cohesively, and deliver impact. Right. So I would urge people to take part in case competitions, whatever opportunity that your B school offers, and these schools provide a lot of opportunity. So you are headed in the right direction. I would just say make the right choices. Don't be blinded by this is right or this is wrong. Just try out multiple things. Expand your horizon. There are many more companies out there. Right. There's in my time, we used to just think, there's consulting and there's finance, right? They're like the two things, and everything else is miscellaneous. At least like I passed out a decade ago, right? So that's what we used to think. But I would just urge everyone to think broader, look at, what's out there, participate in things that help you achieve that goal, right? And eventually you should do something that you enjoy. So
I think the top audience question, and which we missed answering in our earlier one, is that if you don't come to our campus, what is the channel to get inside? And trust me, because we didn't answer it, there are hundreds of people who have voted that question that we need an answer. So just to cut it, I think Akriti did answer that now, that there are opportunities like case competitions, and many of you have it. So I know for a fact that Flipkart does, Flipkart, Wired, Amazon Ace, ABG used to do, Stratos, RPG does, Blizzard, and Reliance does the ultimate pitch. And many of these competitions are open to the whole segment. So let's say I take an example of the ultimate pitch, right? So it's last year it was open to all the B schools, and the winners basically get a shot at the pre-placement interview. So if you are not from the campus where they actually go and recruit, these are the routes to actually come inside and get into these companies. And similarly, all the other companies are expanding their base slowly and steadily to maybe not all B schools, but more B schools than they used to visit or they visit last year. And that has been the trend. The next question, I think, in the audience was on the background. We are from a tech background, which is majority of the incoming batch is, whether we'll be able to make cut into these leadership programs or not, right? So I won't throw this question to each one of you. Probably I will answer it and then I will go to you for 5 seconds. Just say yes or no, whether my answer is correct or not. But the leadership program, as far as I know, is independent of your background. So any company would want to hire as many diversified people as they want, because diversity is now a keyword. Trust me, we have just done a diversified hiring hackathon with Walmart. We were expecting 5,000 registrations. We got 55,000 registrations, only girl coders in Pan India. And everybody was surprised. So that's why the background and all, the more diverse your background is, you have an advantage. But that doesn't say that if you're from a tech background and you're one among the, let's say, the other herds, you won't be recruited. It's just that your story needs to be very, very good. I hope I answered this question on behalf of all of you in the interest of time.
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Irfan, Mitranjan, Akriti, Milan, Venki, for joining us. I'm sure these are the kind of deep conversations that we wanted to drive through the Ignite program, and the new incoming batch would have found it very, very valuable. Thank you so much for coming in.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Okay,
much. Bye.
now let's go to the next segment. So we talked about the Ignite hunt, right? Personally, I am surprised the way you guys have hopped onto it. We see close to about 2,500 to 3,000 people actually making the cut and moving beyond those levels. Now let me reveal all the answers to level 1 after this. So the answer for 1 is orange. Can we have that? Yes. Okay. And the answer for question 2, can we have question 2? It's Aditya Birla Group. I'm sure many would have cracked it. Question 3 is See It. Question 4, Flipsters. Question 5, Shrikant and Chilam. Question 6, Portia. And question 7, or rather, even before I move on to the next question, this was level 1. Let's now see the top 20 people who have crossed level 1 the fastest. And let's give them a big round of applause. Can we have that on screen, please? These are the top 10, Hita, Ashish, Siddharth. Then we have the next 10, Rajya, Saranya. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you so much. And as I can see, 1,000 people are stuck on this question. So I'll probably spend a few seconds here. This is the question. You won't see that in the platform. I returned to India in 1957 and started a yarn trading business in Mumbai. But my dreams were big and my ambitions higher, because of which we are admired. Brotherhood is in my name. Commitment is in the blood. What is my first name? Mind you, it's not just any 9-letter word. I'll give you 10 seconds to again read through it if you want to take a screenshot, but I'm sure you will find this very, very nice. I'll give you 10 seconds. We have 1,000 people on this level. I hope after this, there will be many more people who are moving forward. And for the other guys who are stuck at 1 to 6 levels, now you know the answer. Go on, move on, and go to level 2. Awesome. Now let me reveal the winners of some of the social media campaigns that we did during the registration period of Ignite. The first contest was from ITC, and we have these winners: Chirag, Isha, Faizan, Harsh, Zenifa, Shrishti, Rishika, Rajat, Priyasha, Nitin. Congratulations to all 10 of you. The next in line is another contest from Aditya Birla Group, and we have Aman, Aniket, Ayushi, Harsh, Manoj, Vishakha, Shivam, Sheetal, Priyanka, and Parul. Congratulations to all 10 of you as well. Now let me move on to the next panel of the day. The FMCG and the FMCD sector had more, I mean, the most new entrants would be aware of. All you guys who are watching us today would be aware of the sector and specifically sales and marketing profiles because you would have heard them even if you're not preparing for your MBA, right? While the sector has many takers, only a few are able to make a mark in this sector and especially in this profile. So in this segment, we will dive into how to build a successful sales and marketing career in top FMCG and FMCD companies. And today we have with us Mohit Agrawal, who is Chief Manager at Asian Paints, Akshay Murthy, who is Brand Manager Ashirwad ITC, Xenia Shroff, she is General Manager Garnier India at L'Oreal, Ashwin Shukla, he is the head HR operations and technology at Marico, Gautam Rishi, marketing manager, healthcare Reckitt. And again, you'll have to see me as the moderator. Now, welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. My first question is to you, Akshay. We have seen that a great marketeer needs to understand the nuances of sales. I mean, everybody talks about it, the sales cycle, the margins and all, how do you hit the retailer or so. First of all, how true is this statement? And if it is true, how important is for a new person, a management trainee to move, first of all, into the sales path before moving on to marketing and branding?
See, the point that you're saying between sales and marketing, yeah, I mean, that's a mixed bag, honestly, and I'm not trying to play the fence sitter here. It kind of varies. I have people in my team who are, who are into marketing, who are in my team and who've not done sales at all. And they seem to be doing pretty good for themselves. But personally, and I can only speak for myself, when, I started my career in sales in ITC and then moved into branding. And that has actually kind of helped. There are certain nuances which are there, which only if you're in a sales front, you'll be able to appreciate. For example, you'll have a really good product that you have and you want to communicate the nuances. But if you don't know how does the order capture happen at the sales call by the salesman, how is the trade going to react to a particular scheme that you're going to deploy? Or, what is the kind of real estate that you have in the outlet to communicate whatever you want to communicate? These are some certain nuances which you'll pick up only, at least for me, I picked it up only because of my sales stint, interacting with those retailers. And that kind of helps me optimize my messaging. Brevity is very important. You have to be crisp. So what sort of messaging, how to talk, the eyeline, those kinds of things have actually helped me in good stead. So to summarize, if you were to ask me that, can you be a good marketeer? Is it necessary to have done sales to be a good marketeer? Not necessary. I don't think so. But does it help to have done sales before you do marketing? I think so, yes. I mean, it's actually helped me quite a bit. So yeah, that's how I would.
Again, attached to that, right? Because you're saying that marketeers need to be attached to the sales cycle, right? Do you also think that if you have built your career in marketing, right, it will always help to be in touch with the sales cycle? So let's say, in 12 months, you basically take up at least a month or you have regular meetings with the retailers to understand their viewpoint, like you do inside closed group studies or so.
You must. I mean, you're completely right. As in, we do that. It is actually very essential that you go on these market visits to get a perspective of, what the trade is saying. More than what most research agencies can tell you. And, most of these research data, at least the trade leg, the distribution leg comes with a lag. You'll be able to pick up those nuances when you interact with the trade, in terms of how a particular category functions, what are the nuances with respect to pricing, is there any seasonality? It really helps to actually have that touch with trade. It is completely necessary, in my opinion, to have that. And, one must have that connection.
Also, another question, and I'm sure this question is coming from students. Sales, when people take in people for sales and marketing role, they assign boys to sales and girls to marketing. Is that a trend or it's completely open?
See, and I see a couple of the panelists smiling. Yeah, see, to be honest, in sales, there is a lot that needs to be done. I mean, and it's actually true. You do have, I mean, that kind of a skew did exist. there are certain roles in sales which has started opening up. And I'm saying that girls are kind of disadvantaged, but now certain roles, for example, roles which are based out of metros, for example, CAM roles, those kinds of roles are getting opened up. At least in competition companies, I see. In ITC, for that matter, we have had people who have been in active sales, but then is that number adequate, sufficient? I don't think so. I mean, that skew still exists, but has it changed? For sure, it has. I mean, over the last 2-3 years, it has kind of changed. And I think the onus lies completely on organizations like us. You have to make sure that when you are on a sales stint, you have to tour up country markets. How do you ensure that you kind of make it comfortable for your employees, for their travel, for their safety, for their well-being? And that is the responsibility of organizations like us. But to answer your question in short, is there a skew? Does it exist? Yes, it does. I mean, but has it changed? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that's kind of happening in the last, I would say, 3-4 years. I've spent about 10 years with ITC now, and I see that mix kind of actively changing and changing for the better in the last 3-4 years, in my opinion.
Awesome. Coming to you, Gautam, you have been with Reckitt for almost a decade now, and you have joined right after college. I mean, my alma mater, IMT, and you have both worked in India and outside India. Can you outline your overall experience, how this experience of a decade has shaped you professionally as well as personally in this career, and what has been the growth journey been?
Sure, Ankit. So, last 10 years that I've grown with Reckitt, I think one thing I can very easily say, while the names have changed of the company, it used to be Reckitt Benckiser 10 years back, then it became RB because Reckitt Benckiser used to be a tongue twister. I could not pronounce Reckitt Benckiser for a long time. People could not even email us because it used to be @Reckitt Benckiser. The spelling mistakes were there. So we moved to RB. Now we are Reckitt. But one thing which has not changed in Reckitt is the core fundamental of how it works, which now we call freedom to succeed. So that's how we term it. But what it really means is it's an attitude which pushes us to take charge of our work and career. And that's been since day one. I've seen it, and that's been the core of the company since it started decades back. That hasn't really changed. So what it means is, I very often say this, that philosophically this is basically free will. That you are in charge of your work, you are in charge of your career. And that's a great thing about Reckitt that I've grown up with, and that's given me a personality as well, because eventually what happens is very quickly you will be put in an uncomfortable position. And initially I was terrified because I have a tech background, and for 4-5 years I worked in a tech industry, and I moved completely switched, and here I was in FMCG, and I said, this is the worst decision in my life. What have I done? I will not survive here, even for a year. And what happened was that with the uncomfortable position also came the stretching and learning. And as you'll read in so many books, and when you exercise, your muscles ache for the first time, and that's when you realize that you're pushing yourself and you're growing. That's a very similar thing here as well, which I have seen in Reckitt. Specifically, that you're out of your comfort zone. So your stint is done, you'll be moved very quickly. You're comfortable in one location, you'll be moved to another location. Where am I? What am I doing here? And then so these things happen. That's how 10 years have just gone by. That's how it is. If you have an appetite to be uncomfortable and go beyond comfort zone, that's what it teaches you.
And trust me, Gautam, my key takeaway and for students would have been that you're from a tech background, because I see some of the questions, and one question I'll quote: coming from a tech background with 3 years of work ex, would FMCG even consider me? So I think because Gautam is here in this panel itself, that question is settled. Yes, even if you're from a tech background, you can be considered. But tell me, any number of experience, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, because many a times people say that only freshers are, 0 to 1 year people are preferred in FMCG. Is that true?
So it comes out to, boils down to your decision. So I worked for about 5 years, 4.5, 5 years. So maybe it was slightly a late decision, I would say. Normally in first 2-3 years, you would decide that I want to go move my career from tech. So I took about 4 years. What you said was very true, because initially in the campus round, I wasn't even considered because they said, hey, he's too old for the fresher role. But eventually what you bring in, and actually you make this your strength, because you have that tech, you have that work experience. You know how to deal with a lot of situations which the freshers don't. So you take that as an advantage, and you would actually be far better than so many others if you have that experience behind you.
I think you've already spread hope to all the tech guys who are incoming, because very frankly, the questions generally come from them. Okay, now coming to you, Ashwin. So all FMCGs have huge products, right? Some hygiene, packaged foods, cosmetics, grooming. What are the common qualities that an employee will get irrespective of the product line that they're working with?
Right. So Ankit, as an organization, what we would want to be focusing on is ensuring that anybody who joins the organization, gets a holistic business understanding from an FMCG construct. From the time that they join, right, to the multiple exposures that then get planned for each of them, in the coming years. It would all build up to gaining varied exposures, from a trade construct, be it general trade, be it modern trade, be it e-com, right? Along with that, also a thorough understanding of brands, right? So that's the kind of exposure that we would look at from a functional understanding. Alongside this, there are certain cultural tenets that we would want each of our members to experience. So something like empowerment for us is critical. Early responsibility is something that's very critical and ingrained to Marico. And also experiencing and living the Marico values, right? So these are some of the experiences that anybody who's joining the organization would look to gain.
Sure. Thanks, Ashwin. Coming to you, Xenia. So see, L'Oreal, when we always think about FMCG, right, everybody thinks about direct to consumer brands, B2C brands, right? L'Oreal is one company that has a different line altogether for professionals, which is a B2B line. How different it is from a normal FMCG company or a product line or a sales and marketing role in a B2C firm or B2C line within L'Oreal versus a B2B line within L'Oreal, and how the roles are completely different from each other.
So thank you for that question. Yes, Ankit, that is peculiar to L'Oreal on the panel here today. So see, L'Oreal is the #1 beauty company in the world. Okay, and it's our mission to create beauty that moves the world, to invent the future of beauty. And with that mission, we are present across beauty categories, across price points, with multiple brands. And of course, in every channel in which a consumer searches for or buys her beauty products and services. So the salon is obviously an integral space where a consumer goes to fulfill her beauty needs. So we have a large and a very strong professional products division that plays in this segment. Now, when it comes to roles in this division versus the consumer products division, if I were to, very, very simplistically sketch out a traditional marketing role today, what do? We understand our categories, we understand our markets, we understand the depths of our consumers, we learn valuable insights. And from there, we create products that answer specific consumer needs. We put them at the right price. We find ways to communicate these products to consumers. We create great activations, be it offline or online, to engage the consumers, to build trial, to build retention, build brand love. So simplistically put, this is what marketers in the salon division do as well. So although the buyers of these products are technically salon owners, the products and services are still created to cater to consumer needs. So marketing still creates campaigns to engage the consumers. Activations online or offline are still created to target the end consumer. So the difference is you may not see a TV commercial just yet from the professional products division, but you will see social media, you will see influencers, you will see POS materials in store. In fact, today PPD has made an entry on e-commerce, on social commerce. So, as the world becomes more O+O or offline plus online, as we say, these lines are blurring, and the roles in that sense are not so different today.
Sure. Also, there's a question from the audience, and I think you might want to take this up. what is the most important quality required for aspiring brand managers? And when I say you, it's best that you take it up, because I mean, both from the B2C and the B2B market, the qualities won't change per se, right?
Yeah, so I think the qualities that we look for when we're hiring, on campus or laterally, it's really, first of all, I would say passion, great attitude, ambition, a hunger to succeed. That's really the energy that the candidate, shares with us in an interview. It's palpable. And for me, from moment one, when you see that energy, from a candidate or from a student, you're already honed in and you're already listening with ears wide open. Second is, for a brand manager, it's definitely, I would say, discipline, rigor, but at the same time always fresh thinking, because that's what I think we look for. When students come in, we don't want a jaded old perspective. That's what all of us are there for, those who have been in the industry for 8, 10, 12, 15 years. So we're looking for fresh thinking. And I think something that I personally also always look for is a very strong sense of team collaboration. We work together, we succeed together. I don't achieve anything on my own. So, sometimes it's very important to gauge that for me in an interview as well.
Okay. Thank you so much. Mohit, coming to you next. See, Asian Paints is one of those companies that hold hands with both FMCG and FMCD. What are the key differentiating factors for these two industries? How are they similar? How are they different?
Okay, so well, if I talk about FMCG, I think one of the things that I think what happens is that the purchase cycle for consumer is very more often, right? And therefore, what is happening? The material is also moving off the shelf of retailer and even at consumers home at a very fast speed, right? While in FMCG, what is happening that it is more calculated decision. So generally, what will happen in FMCG, somebody would have purchased material out of a product out of a necessity, right? In case of FMCG, he has thought about it. He has got his disposable income. Then he's making that decision. So if I have to talk about what it matters for the company, is that from an FMCG standpoint, a company would have to invest possibly slightly more in terms of always being tuned to what consumers want, because it's changing very fast and he's interacting with you more often than in FMCG sort of space. So that's one. If I talk about FMCG, what is happening? Therefore, since he's talking about a lot of functional qualities, making more calculated decision, and therefore there the role of influencer becomes very important. So it could be, let's say, a dealer, it could be anybody. Even today, Cora is an influencer for that matter, right? So I'm saying the role of influencer becomes very important, and therefore, yes, they are very similar industries in some manner, but these are some of the nuances which separate them apart. Well, if I talk about, let's say, we take an example of Asian Paint, which I think, since you mentioned that it holds hands with both, I think one of the things which is there is that paint obviously is a slightly more durable product than, let's say, a biscuit at home, right? But what happens is that the way the distribution today happens at Asian Paints, and I think not many stories are there about it, where how fast we can replace material at a dealer's store, or the amount of investment that we do for building brand is very much FMCG-like, right? But at the same time, if I talk about the FMCD quality, which is like the kind of relationship we would have with our dealer, the contractor who's painting your house, is of a different order altogether. And a lot of insights we gather from there. So I think this is a very unique mix in that sense that, and that possibly, if you ask me, it is the secret ingredient for success of Asian Paints also. And yeah, so that's about it.
Okay. And also tell me something. So this question has come from, because you do a lot of celebrity marketing as well, right? The question from the audience is that are celebrity-based marketing really effective in return on investment? I know it's too technical, but people are asking, and the other guys are upvoting.
So I'll give you a very technical answer to this. The celebrity cost in terms of any media investment, it's very limited part of it. It is actually the media cost. Okay, so the technical answer is that. But if I talk about brand building, celebrities do play a part, obviously. So it depends on the brand. But I think the key factor, again from a technical standpoint, is your brand persona has to match the celebrity persona. And that is,
I think celebrities are nothing but, I think, one extension of influencers, right? Nowadays, I mean, I think just after the COVID lockdown last year, right? I was reading an article which said that companies are now going towards celebrity advertising because now they'll be using things themselves and other people will be sort of copying or getting influenced by them. Okay. Now coming to Akshay. Akshay, again, an extension of the question that I asked earlier. According to our campus employee branding survey that we did about 2 months back, there was a difference between what males prefer as their top choices of the domains that they want to work in versus females. Females was top right FMCG, right, sales and marketing, whereas males was something else. Do you think that as a company or as a segment, FMCG or so, has anything changed because of which this preference has shifted to FMCG for females?
See, I don't think much has, I mean, yes, there's been some change, for example, like I was mentioning the last 3-4 years, but as such, say, for example, if you were to look at hardcore marketing per se, and now more so in the last 1.5 years where everything is now possible remote. Yeah, I mean, when I came into branding, I never thought that a market visit or a retailer interaction is possible over, over Zoom or over video call. But no, the point is, what's also happened is I think organizations over time have kind of become more accommodating of aspirations of people. One, for example, personal aspirations and your work-life balance, personal aspirations, domestic requirements per se, or the ability to work out of locations. Earlier in sales, and I can talk for my organization in particular, you would had field offices which were upcountry, Jabalpur and upcountry in Kashmir, and not everyone was wanting to travel. And not just, and this got nothing to do with males or females. I think you would ask any guy or a girl out there, they would all want to kind of work, not far away from their families. They have their their requirements as well. Secondly, the fact that there used to be, I think over course of time, what's also evolved and changed is the fact that organizations have started becoming more merit oriented. Meritocracy has kind of crept in, and inherent cognitive and unconscious biases have kind of been kind of eliminated. So you, in the sense that even when you're having your career conversations or your appraisal discussions that's happening, you would find that people are more open to points of view which are very different from yours, and not allowing biases to keep in, which are very, very subjective and individual oriented. So that's also kind of led to an increase in preference for FMCG, I would say. Yeah. The third and the last point that I think why FMCG is now becoming a core aspect is or a core preference, I would say, and I don't know whether I can answer between males and females, because I don't know what the males prefer. I certainly wanted to do FMCG marketing when I passed out of IFT. But yeah, the point being that at the end of the day, the joy of solving for an inherent consumer need and being able to work in a segment or a category which solves for daily, not everyone possibly, and with all due respect to members from previous panels and here, not probably everyone can understand whether it's an SEC, C consumer or D consumer, may not necessarily understand how e-commerce works, right? But everyone understands the nitty-gritties, or rather interacts with products like soaps and shampoos and beauty products, or paint or food for that matter, and therefore you'd find people wanting, or the lure of FMCG, at least for me, I can say, is I'm very familiar with these concepts, products, and I think that is the other reason why people would want to opt for FMCG vis-a-vis some other sector.
And Gautam, linked to this diversity, right now, that's also a buzzword. Now, companies value diversity, both, gender, background, ethnicity, all of it, right? Because as you want to grow and have more markets, you need to have more people that understand those markets, right? At Reckitt, how do you groom people for those diverse backgrounds for leadership positions?
Right, Ankit. I think, like you said, if you are serving consumers and you have mass products and not just specialized products, then your consumer is not just one gender, right? Your consumer is across gender, across background, education, SECs, regions. So I think the companies have started understanding that a lot more, and that's why a lot more inclusion also, and you see that happening in the workforce. At Reckitt, there are so many initiatives. I think a couple of them, top of my head. One is, for example, the gender pay report. I think Reckitt was initially the first one to start doing that, where now we every year give a gender pay report. There is a gap, but the problem is solved once you understand what the problem is. So step one was accepting that there was a problem and then openly talking about it. And now that we've committed to talking about it every year and showing out a report, it helps fix that problem as well. Then there are a lot of other initiatives. Like I was part of the parental support, so I got a parental leave for not just a week. Initially, there used to be for fathers, they used to get 3 days off, and it was a joke that why are you even giving us 3 days, right? And it used to be all around, not just in one company. Everybody was like this: give them 3 days off, and they should be happy. And so I was part of the parental support, where I actually got not just 1, 2, 3 days, but a couple of weeks off, and that changed so much between the relationship as well, because suddenly you also realize that it's not always one way, and a lot of times employees feel that I'm working day and night. What am I getting out other than just the check that I get at the end of the month? Here is the time when you really need the support and when you start getting support. So I think that's a huge part which Reckitt has also worked on. Then the third is you very nicely, I think you talked about it, the women in sales aspect. That's a separate group in RB in Reckitt, where there's a support system where all the previous women who've come in sales and have graduated and have, that's a core group which now support the new people who are coming in, or the new women who are coming in sales, because all these questions keep coming up, right? That how will I make this happen? How will I do it? What will my family say? What will be the safety aspect? How will I speak to 20 people who are reporting to me? Because when you go to sales, you have so many people who are looking up to you. How will I handle that? So now that you have a core support who's done that, been there, are really growing in the company, when the new person joins in, the new girl joins in, who's a fresher, they are very, very, very easily handled, because you're connected to them. And the first day you speak to this whole group and you see 20 wonderful women who've done wonderfully well in the company. They're talking about their experiences, and they show their vulnerability, right? And when these leaders talk about how vulnerable they were, how difficult it was for them, it becomes very real. They also believe that, yes, what I'm going through or what I'll go through is also real, and I'll be okay. The company's got my back.
Thanks, Gautam. Coming to you, Ashwin. Now, this is regarding identifying a skill, right? At heart, many people love working for FMCGs because they have actually grown up using those products and can relate with the consumers, right? And I think in the interviews as well, this comes along. Empathizing with the end consumer is easier said than done. And even if you have been the consumer for years, how do you identify this sort of very, very specific skill in a potential candidate? Because nowadays this is coming handy for all the FMCG companies, and specifically sales and marketing domain.
Right. So thanks, Ankit. So I think empathy, like you rightly put, being able to put yourself in the consumer's shoes is important, right? An individual's ability perhaps to identify, what exactly is the emotional need, understanding the reasons behind, that need, and then responding to it, right? Effectively is what's critical, right? Some of the aspects that we would typically want to delve into is so number one would be, what sort of actions has an individual taken in order to understand the consumer, their lives, right? And the kind of insights that they've generated, in this entire process. I think delivering fresh ideas through consumer interactions, right, in order to perhaps maybe build or reshape ongoing plans within the organization, or perhaps ideas for product development and product research is another aspect that we would want to look at. I think third would be the kind of role that an individual plays or actions that they end up taking across, say, a product development cycle is something that we would want to understand more during our interactions. And lastly, how has an individual worked towards building a culture of consumer centricity, right, and creating that shift in perhaps the current organization, current work areas, peers, is another aspect that we would want to understand during our interactions with people.
Sure. Thanks, Ashwin. Coming to you, Xenia. In B school, some students aren't really sure about whether sales and marketing is for them. And that is true, not only for this domain. Primarily, they hear things. They think that, hey, let's go into this because of glamour or so. But let's say, how do a person identify that if sales and marketing is for them?
Okay. So what I can say, like you mentioned, the glamour, Ankit, I can say that marketing is not all about the fluff. It's not all about the creativity. I often have people in an interview say, I want to do marketing and I think I'm going to be really good at it because I'm very creative. And then, they have nothing creative to say after that. So it's not all about that. It's a lot of consumer insighting. There's science behind it. It's I said rigor and discipline earlier because there's a lot of project management involved, forecasting, sizing of business opportunities, building business plans for new launches, people management, agency management, a lot of business management, because ultimately as you grow up, the P&L of the brand is yours to drive and build and own. So, this is some of what, goes into being a marketer. But for choosing whether sales and marketing is the right career choice for you, I can sit here and tell you by the book, why marketing or why sales. But the truth is, I know people who have made that decision also by process of elimination. Finance, I can't do. HR is not for me. Ops, I don't like. So, hey, marketing. So I would recommend to students that don't be so hard on yourself if you haven't figured it out just yet.
Or I'll tell you, many times, many students is just Jai Mata Di, whichever.
Exactly. There you go.
They are being interviewed by many companies.
There you go. So, and as far as what sector is concerned, because you mentioned that as well, to be honest, most people don't even know what they want to do 10 years later. I've seen people move across sectors, across functions. I know people who've spent 15 years in beauty and then joined a B2B startup. So, I think as people and professionals, we evolve. We have to allow ourselves that. So if I can be, it's great if you have a dream and an ambition in place. But if I could be a little unconventional and say, sometimes it's okay to just go with the flow. You don't have to put so much pressure on yourself to make that decision right at this stage.
Sure. Okay, coming to you, Mohit, before I sort of go into audience questions, because I see many. Let's talk about exit options as well. I mean, there was a question on entry. So if a person is in consulting, okay, and specifically the question is that, hey, if a person is in MBB, McKinsey, BCG, Bain, and they want to come and do sales and marketing, are FMCG and FMCD is open to take that person. And once that person has come in, right, and done sales and marketing for 5 or 6 years, what exit options do they have? Can they only continue in sales and marketing itself, or can they switch gears?
Okay, well, so I think the first part of the question, okay, which is whether, let's say, somebody from MBB or any other consulting firm can enter into, let's say, sales and marketing. See, I think part of it was Xenia, she was answering that, and she said that, the important part is that there has to be, I think, while she mentioned a lot of quality, I think it is about solving problems. Okay, so a marketer on a day-to-day basis is solving a problem. A sales person also on a day-to-day basis is solving a problem, right? So I think the experience from there is directly applicable in obviously a sales and marketing role also. So that is one. Yes, it could be that the person who's working, let's say, too many on corporate strategy projects and then entering here into sales and marketing career, you might find that the experience there is not related. But I think a lot of time what will happen that if you have a, let's say, structure and the ability to solve problems, you'll still, I think, succeed. So that's one. Yes, companies are open to it, and I think I also know a lot of people who have moved from consulting background to a FMCG company. So I personally know, I think 4 or 5 names are popping up my head right now. So that's there. Coming to the second part of it, which is that, what are the exit options, right? So if I talk about from FMCG, I think one thing which is very clear that we have seen so far is the fact that, because there are some qualities which are across industry, right? So both sales and marketing, in fact, brand management, yes, there will be nuances in different companies, different kind of brand, different structures, but the basics of marketing will remain same, right? Similarly, for basics of sales will remain same. Yes, there could be a difference between FMCG and FMCD when it comes to sales structures, but again, the basics remain same. And I think somebody was mentioning in the previous conversation where I think, nowadays there are many sort of industries that have opened up, right? Earlier, what used to happen is that consulting karna hai, maybe you move to, let's say, sales and marketing, or you do finance, and these are it. Now, in fact, what is happening that with, a lot of, in fact, I will say a lot of role is being played by startups today, e-com companies also. Okay? In fact, many traditional businesses are also opening their e-com space right now, right? So all of these things have opened up a lot of options for people. So yes, people from FMCG or FMCD can move within and across industries, that's one. They can even move to e-com startups and even consulting. And so there are go-to-market experts, there are branding experts in consulting. So all of these options are open. It's about what you want to do. And, I think, like she said, that 10 years later, people don't.
No, I'll tell you what. I mean, being an ex-consultant, I know that the exit options for the FMCG sales definitely is e-commerce or anything, right? But in consulting, either you come from campus or from any other consulting firms, but majorly, I mean, after 5 or 6 years only, you can't come back to consulting. Generally, if an MBB is hiring, they would rather hire a person with decades of experience because they'll be hiring that person as a subject matter expert. But nonetheless, if you're coming from consulting, you can go into sales and marketing, and then probably you can go into a leadership role at maybe some other companies. Awesome. What I will do now is, in the interest of time, I will take up some questions from the audience, and I will try and answer them based on our conversation so that we close many questions at one. And if anybody has any point to add on to it, feel free to, take that question up, right? So the first question is, how do you manage changing job locations as demanded by a sales and marketing role? So generally, in all, that's not only for sales and marketing, but primarily for all the companies also. You have your preference list. Companies have their obviously preference list where the openings are there. If everything matches, you go where you are preferred, right? If it doesn't match, you may have to follow suit. Majorly now, all top recruiters, all the panelists would agree that companies also want to actually take your preferences and align internally, right? If they are not able to align internally, only then they will come back to request you to shift. Otherwise, obviously, they will come back. And those are the shifts because of which I think the diversity is also increasing. All good? Anything to add by any of the panelists? Okay, awesome. Sorry, I'm just going through more questions. I think sales roles are known to be deprived of work-life balance. How true is this? How to encourage ourselves to keep on doing sales? This anybody has to take. I can answer it very generally, but if anybody can take this up, anybody wants to take a jab at it?
I'm okay to take a jab at it, Ankit. I hear this and I hear you say sales lives and work-life balance, but I tell you, I think it's the same across. I wouldn't be surprised if the same question came into, say, marketing, or someone came in from finance, or someone came in from supply chain with the same kinds of issues. And I think, as a professional, as you grow, it's all about, you finding the way to balance between work and life. And it's not just true for, like I was saying, sales or marketing or any function in particular. It's just the way you manage it. I'm a mom. That's my first job. and I can tell you that, it's not always easy, and it wasn't easy to begin with. But I think you have to learn to prioritize, and you have to push yourself, push your managers, and then push your teams, as you have teams, to also strike that right balance. And it's very doable, it's very possible, and I think every organization is in support of it. You work as late as you make yourself work. I feel very strongly about that.
Okay, awesome. To close the panel, what I'll do is I'll give everybody 30 seconds. I'll ask you very, very rapid 3 questions. You just need to answer it yes or no, or maybe 2 words or so. And all these questions, mind you, students want to hear. Okay. And I'll start with you, Mohit. So the first question is, would you prefer a fresher or a candidate with WorkX, or either of them are fine? Yes or no?
There is no preference, honestly. If it is relevant for specific role, it will matter. Otherwise, no.
Okay, perfect. The other question is point blank, and you can say no comments. Are you increasing your package this year if you go to campuses?
So there was a lot of news that Asian Paints increased its package last year also during COVID. So yes, we will look at this year also. Number is not there yet.
Awesome. And are you going and definitely hiring more numbers this year, or similar to last year?
So we are hiring this year also. The numbers are not frozen yet.
Okay. And does academic matter for Asian Paints?
It does matter, but it is about overall fit. I'm being very efficient with the answers.
Yeah, political. Let's go to Akshay. Similar questions, but maybe here and there. So internally, is your company focusing on diversity? And will that reflect in your hiring in campus?
Yes, but not the objective ki bhai X percentage should be of a particular background or Y percentage should be of a particular gender. But yeah, subconsciously that.
Again, freshers or WorkX candidate, or both for ITC?
Both. We've had both. Depends. Relevant WorkX always is an added bonus. But yeah, we've had both. There is no inherent bias this or that way.
Hello, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Saying, yeah, I can. I was saying we've had both. There is no preference for one or the two.
Sure.
Relevant WorkX is an added bonus, but yeah, no preference this way or that way.
Okay. And last again is, are you going and hiring for higher numbers?
We are going and hiring. Numbers are not yet closed.
Coming to you, Zinia. One thing to avoid during your MBA journey.
Focus on only academics. You should avoid that. It should be, do other things and enjoy. It's such an amazing time.
Awesome. One activity to do while in campus.
The same, no.
Internally, is your company also focusing on diversity? And will that reflect in your hiring numbers?
Very emphatic, yes. And yes, it would. Again, there are no percentages for quota X and Y%, but yes, definitely so.
Okay. Coming to you, Ashwin. Again, would you prefer fresher or candidate with WorkX?
So, Ankit, I think for us, as far as the hiring philosophy goes, it's always good to have a mix of both freshers as well as people with diverse experiences. There's no bias there towards either a fresher or a.
Okay. And
so I think what really matters is your strong fundamentals is what really matters, and whatever you.
One thing to avoid during your MBA.
I would agree with Senior. I think people should have fun amidst all the projects and group works and everything. Having fun is important.
Okay, and does academic matter when you go for hiring?
So, while a consistent academic record does provide some kind of insight towards attitude, sincerity, and so on and so forth, I think what really matters is the overall profile of an individual. So you hire for the attitude first, then just pure play academics, right? That's how I see it.
Okay, awesome. Gautam, you're next. If you were a student, how would you rank the following? Growth, culture, exit options, work-life balance, and money. I'll repeat again. Growth, culture, exit options, work-life balance, and money.
So in these options, I would definitely say growth. There's a fantastic book on growth mindset. All the students should go out and read that for sure. If I had to add something more, I would say prioritize your health. And that health comes from feeling good from within, which comes from the culture that you talked about. So you find the right culture, you'll be happy working with those people, and then you'll also grow along with them.
Okay, all right. And also, again, are you increasing your package from last year, and are you hiring more numbers?
Too early to say that, but from a hiring perspective, of course, we are hiring, and campus recruitment for us is a very big part of the whole process. So definitely.
Okay. So here is it for students. I think all these companies are hiring, some similar to what they did last year. Some may hire in more numbers, some may increase their packages, but the news is good and positive that there will be jobs on campus. There will be summer placements on campus. They will hire females, males, freshers, work-ex, tech guys. So they'll hire every and each one of you. So don't worry about it. Okay, thank you so much, Mohit, Akshay, Zinia, Gautam, Ashwin for joining us. It was a pleasure to be in conversation with you. I know it's a chicken and egg conundrum, right? Sales and marketing. While I'm sure we have not been able to give them the right answer or break that, but we have basically given them so few insights about this intricate world of sales and marketing. So thank you so much for joining us. Have a lovely day.
Thank you, Ankit. Thanks,
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Ankit.
Awesome. So let's move on to the next part, where again, let's go to the D2C Ignite Hunt. Something tells me that it's going viral. As I can see, we have 10,000 plus registrations overall. And if I go and check the leaderboard, again, many people have crossed level 2. In fact, about 1,000 people again are on level 1, and there are close to about 3,000 people who have started the D2C Ignite Hunt. And let me also tell you that there are about 5,000 people who are currently viewing this session. So let's go and answer all these level 2 questions so that people who are stuck can also move forward. The question 7, the answer is Dhirubhai. For question 8, the answer is 1942. Question 9, it's Zara Larson. Question 10 is Harsh Mariwala. Question 11, L'Oreal Brandstorm. And this puts smile on my face. Question 12 is Backrub. And question 13 is Kriti Senan. Now let's see who are those top 20 people who have crossed this level first. Big round of applause to all these 20 people. Wow, the timing has been phenomenal. Maybe 4:10. So it's going viral. Good. Thank you so much. Now it's the time to reveal the 14th question. And here it is, so that you can move forward. Keep the memories, but not the bacteria. What's my name is the core trivia. You could easily guess my 6-letter name. Oops, but you need to tell us which year did I come to fame. I'll give you 10 seconds to sort of see through this, maybe take some screenshots or memorize this and then move forward to the last level. Mind you, 3,000 people are playing the treasure hunt and about 5,000 or 6,000 people are watching us live. And as we move across, and I'm sure the last panel, which is coming very, very shortly with Rahul Subramaniam, we may have much more people. Okay, now let's go to our next segment, where we will announce the last 2 winners of the last 2 social media contests that we run. The first one is from L'Oreal. Antra, Bhumi, Mahek, Niharika, Nupur, Vinayak, Shubham, Shreyas, Ruchita, Parvati. Congratulations to all of you. Okay, now we go to the last social media campaign winners from Reckitt. And we have Achal, Sai, Dhruv, Gargi, Pranav, Saurabh, Shazia, Ronak, Priyanshi, and Rapti. Congratulations to you as well. Okay, let's go to the next segment where I talk about something that we launched last year. So D2C Academia is a place which is completely filled with all the resources that you would need in your next 2 years of your life. We have CV curation course, okay, wherein they place commerce of IIMs, IITs, as well as graduate colleges like SRCC have come together along with the top recruiters from Flipkart, Reliance, and ABG to give you all the insights as to what should go in a resume, what should not, what kind of a resume is a thumbs up, what kind of a resume is a thumbs down. All of it you can actually go around in that course. Then we have Consulting Chronicles, where we partner with IIM Ahmedabad to give you insights into how to crack estimates or consulting interviews or case studies. Then we have D2C Kickstart, where across domains, engineering, arts and science, B schools, all the competitions that you will have to participate this year, the winners are giving you winning mantras. The people who have done it are giving you winning mantras. And mind you, there are about 10 or 12 such competition winners giving you gyan about how to win a competition. And then we have placement Petronas, wherein we basically give you information about what should go in a GD interview, how to prepare. And then the last course we are launching most likely next week, which is on industry reports. So if you want to know about e-commerce, you go through that report of 8 to 10 pager and you'll have all the information about e-commerce, aviation, FMCG, all of that is going live. After this panel, today evening itself or early tomorrow morning, we'll also send you links for these industry reports. And trust me, all of this is free. Technically, CV curation, D2C Kickstart, placement Petronas, and interview preparation are completely free. Consulting Chronicles has a charge of 500 rupee for enrollment. However, that all money that we are collecting goes to Teach for India as a donation. So technically, all the courses are free. Okay, now let me go to the next and a smaller panel, wherein we talk about the lifestyle of consulting, opportunities in consulting. I mean, as you get into your campus, you are always getting that buzz around a life of a consultant, a lifestyle of a consultant. What's the glamour all about? Today, we will explore both the professional as well as the personal aspects of consulting. And today, to do that, we have Brain Updike, who is partner at PwC Consulting. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
And thank you so much for joining us from US. I know this is pretty early for you. So thank you so much for joining us on this day.
It's my pleasure. Great to be with you. Thank you.
So I was asking you, Brian, that consultants directly interact with CXOs and the senior leadership, right? How do you explain the adrenaline rush for somebody who has directly joined from a B school in a consulting firm?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And one of the wonderful things about consulting is that everything that you do, the projects that we do tend to be very public. They tend to be the most important things on the agenda of the C-suite. And so I think for me, the thing that I love is seeing my work in action. I've talked to others who start a new company, and the first time that they see their product in the wild is an exciting moment. For me, it's an exciting moment when I see the work that we do being publicly recognized. I had one of the projects that we did recently to build a financial planning system for $100 billion plus company, and the CFO was interviewed by Forbes and referred specifically to our project, the impact on their business. That's exciting to me. And I think one of the things that differentiates a consultant, a great consultant, is that we get really excited for our client to take the credit for the work that we do. And we're very okay with the fact that we're not going to take the credit for a lot of that. And so I think it's an important aspect of humility and of the excitement of being in the consulting field.
Thank you so much. And also, consulting, though it becomes so aspirational for everybody, but the real question is that is everybody fit for a consultant role? And if they are not, or how should they identify that they are actually a consultant or they are fit for consulting?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think the reality is that many of the roles that you take within consulting or even in industry, you're going to have some similar aspects of needing to solve problems. And for me, as a child, even growing up, as I looked at what I wanted to do with business, I wanted to go and solve problems. I wanted to go and try new things and be exposed to new things every day. And so those things fit very well for me personally. I think for a lot of people, those fit very well. There are some things that are quite challenging about working in the consulting world. You don't necessarily have a perfect org chart. And so in a company, I tend to work vertically. I have a boss and my boss has a boss, and we have a structure and a set of goals that are associated with that. As a consultant, we work horizontally across an organization, and we look at how we can bring different organizations within a business together. And so, I was visiting with somebody who had recently joined PwC through an acquisition not too long ago. And he said, "Who's my boss?" And I said, "Well, that's a good question." He says, "Is my coach my boss?" Because everybody has a coach. I said, "No, your coach is your coach. They're there to help you be successful." He said, "Is my relationship leader my boss?" I said, "Well, not really, because you're not necessarily going to be working for your relationship partner, but your relationship partner signs your check. So that's a very important relationship." But the reality is that sometimes you have 10 bosses, and sometimes you might feel like you have no bosses. And that level of unstructure and uncertainty is a wonderful place to thrive if it's something that you enjoy. It might not be something that you enjoy, and you might want to go to the office and have the same set of objectives or the same boss every day, and that's totally okay as well. So we have different personalities, but I think to be a great consultant, you'll find that working in an area that has less structure is something that's energizing and exciting to you. You'll probably find that even in school that you seek for those types of opportunities, and we look for people who are seeking out new problems to solve and new opportunities and to really grow your own way, because that's going to help you be successful within a consulting firm. I heard on the previous segment some questions about work-life balance and time management, and that's an important one. I agree wholeheartedly with the advice that was given, that it's your decision. Your ability to manage your time and to focus on things is really important.
But Brian, tell me something. I mean, majorly, as you get into that role, majority of the times you're traveling. I mean, before pandemic, people would have traveled. I know at Deloitte, we used to travel Monday to Thursday and then Friday in office and then the weekend off, right? And there used to be very, very meaningful and impactful conversations that used to happen in person when you're interacting with the client, when you're engaging, exchanging words or so. Has pandemic impacted those effectiveness of those meetings, or the virtual meetings are good to go? They are as same as what they used to be in person?
Yeah, great question. I don't believe we'll ever completely replace the human connection of talking to somebody face to face and of having the meeting after the meeting that typically happens. What has been interesting in this pandemic environment, this virtual environment, is that different skills from different people and different even communication styles have become more important because we're fully in a virtual world. The capabilities that make people successful have changed. And so my client values much more today the written communication, the document that I send them, because they know that I'm not going to be there all the time, and my consultants aren't going to be there all the time. They value the way that we use our time within a more structured meeting. And those things are important. One of the wonderful things that has come from working in a virtual environment is that for me, I have a US-based team that sometimes is in person and sometimes is virtual. I have an India-based team, a large group of people that are based in Bangalore that I work with on a regular basis. And before, we had to fly somebody over the ocean for them to be able to come to a meeting. Well, now I have people on my team who are filling significant client-facing leadership roles from India or from the United Kingdom or from South America. My client doesn't know the difference. They don't care. What they care is that we have the right person in the room to have the right conversation. And so the opportunities that that's opened up for us has been really significant. Even just to have a subject matter expert come to a specific meeting to talk about a specific thing. It used to be, 3 hours to fly in, a hotel room, 3 hours to fly out, and it was difficult to bring the right group of people together. We don't have that problem anymore, and our clients don't have that expectation. So I'd say the in-person aspect of our work will never go away, but the Monday to Thursday every week, our clients aren't asking for that anymore. They recognize that it's a cost both in time and in money, and they're more comfortable with this environment like you and me.
So I think the pandemic what it would do is not eliminate that completely, but probably optimize costs for both the parties, and maybe the work options.
Well, it's forced us to optimize this type of communication and to feel intimate in this type of communication, intimate and personal. in a way that we just didn't force ourselves to do before. And I think it's a wonderful thing.
Sure. Brian, the other thing is why consulting is also aspirational, because during the B school life itself, they hear about exits. So if you have been a consultant for maybe 4 to 5 years or maybe 3 years, right, you can actually eye a good exit for a leadership role in some other companies. Now, startups are preferring consultants, right, who can actually come in and directly start at a leadership level and manage their verticals at one go. So just wanted to understand how true is it, and is that also impacting the consulting industry as a whole?
Yeah, so you mentioned a few of them. The great thing about this type of work is that you're constantly being faced with problems to solve, and you're constantly being faced with problems that require not just an intellectual solution, but a cross-functional solution. You're selling your ideas, you're working across different functional areas and businesses at your clients. So I focus on the CFO space. I work primarily with CFOs and people that are in the CFO organization. But I also work extensively with IT because we have all of our solutions are technology enabled. I work extensively with the other functions of the organization, with marketing and with the product owners, because I focus on pricing and how we can provide advantageous or work with our clients to develop advantageous pricing scenarios. So we're always working across functions. For me, the goal was I want to be able to prepare myself to be a great CFO or to be a great partner in a consulting firm. The great thing was that the things that I needed to do to be a great partner in a consulting firm were the same things I needed to do to be a great CFO. If I chose to leave, my choice was to stay, but I have great friends who have chosen to leave to go to a startup or to go play a significant finance transformation role in an organization. I will say that if you really purposefully find work that you're passionate about and where you can bring an intellectual skill set, but also a personal passion, then you have lots of opportunities to do other good work if you choose to leave.
Also, I think the students would also be interested to know in the consulting domain, if you go and hire from a B school, do you prefer freshers over work experience candidates or work experience candidates over fresher, or no priority at all?
Yeah, it's a great question. We desperately need both. The diversity of ideas is really, really important. I came on as a fresher, and I've been a lifetime PwC employee and worker. That's been refreshing for me. And because of that experience, I have the ability to take 14 years of experience at the same company and pull together ideas from different parts of PwC. I understand how PwC works. We also really need fresh ideas with good work experience to come in and help us think about new ways of working and new ways to solve problems. So both are super important.
I mean, even if I extend this question to a complete diversity, right? Freshers, work-ex, males versus females, ethnic backgrounds, education backgrounds. I think as a consulting firm, you need fresh minds from all these areas, right? And when you're putting across a team for a project, do you also have diversity aspects in mind when you're putting across a team apart from their skill sets?
It's interesting you asked that. Absolutely. We don't have obviously a specific quota that we're looking for. In our hiring, we do often target specific diverse groups because it's so important from a business perspective and because it's the right thing to do. If you go online and you want to check out CEO Action for Diversity, you'll see some of the things that we've done with other CEOs of companies to make sure that everybody's on board with this. But when I select a team, I always joke that if you watch the movie Mission Impossible, I think of selecting my team like the movie Mission Impossible. I need my bombs expert, I need my logistics expert, etc. When I form a team, similarly, I'm looking to get that diversity of experience, both in capability as well as gender diversity and cultural diversity, because I need different ideas, and also because my client is diverse. And my client who's diverse is looking for a team that has similar and different experiences to bring to bear. It always feels uncomfortable, and sometimes it happens. It feels uncomfortable to me if I go to a pitch or to a client meeting with a team that doesn't have a diverse set of backgrounds, and I know that my client is thinking that this is a problem, right? They're going to bring a unitary solution because clearly they haven't brought a diverse team. And so it's an important part of the way that we form the work that we do.
Sure. And my last question to you, Brian, what is that one thing that all the B schoolers should do in their MBA life? Just one thing.
Yeah, just do something different. I ask a question in my interviews in different ways, but what I'm really asking is, can you take an unstructured problem and put structure to it? And so find something to do that's not what all of your friends and those around you are doing. I found a lot of excitement when I was in B school working with the microfinance organizations. The university that I went to was innovative in microfinance. It gave me the opportunity to work with leaders in the space and to go do grunt work to help prepare events and things. But I learned a lot and I got to solve problems, and it was something that was outside of the opportunities that were given to me. So just find something to do that's outside of what everybody else is doing and the opportunities that are given to you so that you can be original.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you so much for joining us this early from US. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm sure all our users have found this session basically on consulting very, very insightful. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Okay, let's move on to the next segment where we basically, I just want to talk about for a minute about the Igniters Club that we have started. So the team and I always think ways of involving and creating an impact to every student on every campus. Some may have excellent communication skills, some may have excellent technical skills, or some may have both, or maybe looking out for something else. To cater to each and every student, what we did was that we came up with an idea of D2C Igniters Club, where students can join it on their campus for raw learning. When I say that, they act as a CEO or a brand manager or a consultant to their committees, their students, and indirectly helping Dare to Compete and their student community itself, right? What we'll do is we'll just play a small video which gives you more insights about D2C Igniters Club, and you will have the link to apply. All right, so you can go on to daretocompete.com to apply for Igniters Club. The link will be on the homepage itself. Okay, the next segment. Let's talk about RPG Ignite Happiness Challenge. Now, this one is special. You would have come across a lot of organizations making offerings on various fronts. And now I'm going to talk about a special organization that has a smiley in its vision itself. They have a tagline, Hello Happiness. We will now say hello to all our happiness ambassadors who have spread smiles across social media during the registration phase of D2C Ignite through RPG Presents Ignite Happiness Contest. And we have these winners. Muskan from HCMHRD, Nikhil from XLRI, Nisarg from HCMHRD, Prakhar from IIM Lucknow, and winning it all is Tushar Jain from IIM Lucknow. Please have a big round of applause. And now, as promised, Tushar Jain, incoming batch at IIM Lucknow, will now be joining in our next panel, where we will explore what to learn and how to learn in an MBA life with Rahul Subramaniam. And high performers from all the B schools, IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, XLRI, PPO holders, gold medalists, and competition winners. In this panel, we have Bhanu Gurum, who is the co-founder of Ditto Insurance and FinShots. He was a PlaceCommerce representative at IIM Ahmedabad and also had a PPO from Amazon. The next in line is Amber Ladd. He was a PlaceCommerce rep at XLRI Jamshedpur for the 2019-21 batch. Bagged a PPO from Bain&Company for associate consultant position. Next in line is Samad Gubrel, He's a gold medalist from IIT Roorkee and a placecomer at IIM Bangalore and is doing his summers at BCG. Next in line is Ashutosh Gupta from IMT Ghaziabad, who has had multiple stage finishes in national and international competitions. He recently stepped up for a cause and helped raise funds for COVID relief by hosting an online session. He's a HUL PPI holder, and we wish him best for the conversion. Akansha Kashyap is IIM Ahmedabad's gold medalist, one of the top 10 D2C competitive business leaders, and has had stage finishes and has won multiple competitions. She's currently a consultant at Kapler Camp. And now, finally, the moderator of this esteemed panel. Very illustrious, extremely hilarious, the brilliant Rahul Subramanian. He needs no too little introduction. You all have turned to him for a quick laugh and some refuge. So you all know him as a stand-up comedian and a brilliant actor. I know him as a fellow IMTN. We have spent 1 year together at IMT. Hi, Rahul. It's a pleasure to share screen with you.
Thank you so much, Ankit. I've been good and I'm very excited and I'm slightly nervous right now, to be very frank.
You nervous?
Because I'm going to interact with such wonderful, talented young people. And although the aim is to ensure that we get as much value as viewers from them, it's also like I don't want to come across as like a little stupid or dumb in front of them. So I'm going to try really hard. That's why I wear my specs. I don't even have eye power. I just want to fit in. I just want to look a little smart. So I'm a little nervous, but thanks, Ankit. Thanks for having me here. And it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much for accepting our invite. And I just don't want to waste any more time with our interaction. Go ahead, interact with those panelists. The only aim is that we need to let them learn what to learn and how to learn in their MBA life. Go ahead, buddy.
Awesome. Thanks, Ankit. Thank you. And first of all, thank you to everyone, all 6 of you who have joined here. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it's actually my pleasure to actually talk to all of you. And I remember when Ankit told me that if I would like to be a moderator for this particular panel, I was keenly excited because like I said, I feel more close to your age than most of the other people who have come here. That's one reason. But overall, I also hope to learn something from you. You can all switch on your audio, all of you, and we'll try and keep it relaxed and fun because that's the only zone I know. So we won't get too serious. And if I get serious, you can cut me out. All right. So let's start. I'm going to start off with nothing which is prepared. I'm going to ask a question which will go one by one, which will also give us a sense of what you guys are, what are you doing in life and stuff like that. My first question to all of you is that this is a very MBA type of question. If you have to introduce yourself in one line, what would be the best way that you would do? And we'll go one by one. Of course, the person saying last will get some time, but the person who goes first might actually hit the jackpot and say something amazing. All right, we'll start with Banu. Banu, hi, bro.
Hi, Rahul.
Yes, all yours.
One line, I would say co-founder of FitShots. I think that's the biggest achievement that I had in my career. Yeah.
Fantastic. Ashutosh.
A passionate marketer, a future marketer, passionate future marketer.
All right, passionate marketer and a future marketer. I'm sure you'll do well in that, Ashutosh. Akanksha, let's come to you.
Hey, so I am an IMA gold medalist, and that was like my biggest achievement that I can talk about.
Fantastic. Congratulations and nice to have you here. Amber, am I saying your name right, Amber? Amber?
Yeah, it's Amber, yeah. So I guess general engineer male, currently working in Bain.
That's general engineer. So say that again, general engineer?
General engineer male. It stands like gen is it's quite a common word in the MBA world. So
all right.
General engineer male, basically at a disadvantage from all ends. So.
All right. You're doing quite well, man. Samarth, let's go to you, bro.
Yeah, thank you. So I will describe myself as a constant learner, always looking for new challenges.
Fantastic. Constant learner who's always looking for new challenges. That's amazing. Tushar. First of all, Tushar, congratulations on being the winner.
Thank you, Rahul. Thanks a lot.
Yes, Tushar. Go ahead, bro.
So I guess like my journey has just yet started. So the biggest achievement is this competition itself, because I'll be getting a mention in Forbes India. So yeah, that's one thing I'm gonna take it along with me.
Fantastic. Congratulations. Again, if you just, for all of you watching and hearing this, you can just see, like, although they all come from the same background, when I say same background, they're all MBAs. Either they are like finishing their MBA or they've just finished their MBA, and just look at the kind of achievements they've had. And this is all they've been able to say in just one line. I'm sure there's way more to them than that. So it's highly I mean it's highly exciting to be amongst all of you. I'll start with some specific questions. Again, at any point of time, if you feel that you don't want to answer a certain question, that's absolutely fine. The only aim is to learn as much as possible. I'll start with Amber Lad. Amber, hi. Amber, you cracked a PPO at Bain & Co. Congratulations. I'm not going to talk about the PPO per se. I just want to ask something very specific. The whole process of doing an internship at a company, now there are a lot of interpretations to that, right? In a B school internship, this so little time, what all can you do? Are they serious about you? How do how do you make use of these couple of months? Basically, it's not just about how talented you are or how much you can work, but it's also about how you get yourself noticed and stuff. So what is your learning from the internship, and what do you think, if you have to advise someone as to, like, these are the things you should look forward to or look at doing in your internship?
Sure, Rahul. So, like you mentioned, right? So the technical part and all of that is just one aspect of the internship. So, from my experience, what I can say for sure, and this I feel applies to not just consulting but across all domains, is the fact that you should be able to understand what the people are expecting from you, your supervisor, your buddy or your manager, whoever. So generally in an internship, you will have someone to guide you, right? So you have to make sure that you have the expectations set, things are in order already, and you are constantly in touch and communicating with them so that there is no mismatch as such. So that is one. Second thing, which I believe is another important aspect, is feedbacks. So it's important that you take regular feedbacks from these people, understand what is it that they want from you, and what is it that they feel you are lacking, and what is it that you can improve upon, and then try to work on these things. Because this again leads me to my third point, which is coachability aspect, which I believe most recruiters look for in a potential employee, right? If you show improvement, if you show a trajectory, then nothing like it, right? That means that you can be coached, you can be molded the way they want you to. So yeah, these three are the things which I would suggest are very important.
Fantastic. So what I really like the part when you said coachability. Basically, your intention to learn and your intention to like adapt is what they are looking at. So what you're saying is basically it does not matter if you're brilliant from day one. That's not what they just want to see how open you are to learning and how open you are to actually doing stuff. Doing stuff according to what the company requires, basically being moldable, right? So that's a great thing. Let me move to Ashutosh now. Ashutosh, first of all, fellow IMTer, nice to have you here, and I have to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Yes, you're someone who has actually won your PPO or like job without actually interning with that particular company, right?
No, I'm currently interning with HUL. I got PPI basically from the competition.
Got it. Sorry, you got a PPI on the basis of the competition. Now, this is specifically for people who are studying in colleges or people who do not get opportunity to say sit for a particular company or their dream company or their dream job. There's not just one way to get what you want, right? Would you like to throw some light on that?
Yeah, so basically, whenever we enter a college, everyone have their dream companies in their mind, but it's not necessary that company visit your campuses. So we limit our vision, like we won't be able to achieve that company, we won't be able to work in that company.
Correct.
But as we have platforms like D2C, and every company, it's not about just HUL or any other company. Every company have their corporate competitions or other ways to get in through. You should always make your vision higher. You should always aim for the best. At the same time, prepare for the worst also. And through competitions like HUL, Lime or other, it's not just about getting into the company. You have a lot to learn throughout the process. What happens? People generally focus on the winning part. and don't focus on the learning part. So basically, even I had lost almost, I had participated in almost 20 competition and I won few of them. So it's more of a learning process. Enjoy the process, work in a team, try to make a dream team where you enjoy learning, where you enjoy spending time with your friends. At the same time, you are working for the best. So that is the way you can enter your dream company.
So Ashutosh, what you're saying, if I can summarize in a sense, is that it's not about winning these competitions. Yes. It's about being part of these competitions, yes, and learning as much as you can. So even if you had not won any of these competitions, you think you would have been as satisfied by just, yes, participating and giving, yes, your best. Is that what, yes, what you're saying?
Yeah, and even the bond we have as a team is great. So it's more of an enjoying process. Just enjoy and learn and grow. That is what I want to say, that you can learn from competitions.
Fantastic. I mean, there's no agreement or disagreement. Everyone has their own way of looking at things, but I resonate with what you're saying. It's all about the experience of learning is so much greater than the actual result. Of course, the result helps, but yeah, thanks, man. That's so well put. Let's go to Banu. Banu, someone who has who's taken the road less traveled. Now, as a former B school student, I know when I got through an MBA, it was a great moment because you got through a B school, but there's also so much pressure, right? Like, I have to get the job, I have to repay the loan and stuff like, will I fit in? Will there be people smarter than me? And I'm sure all these questions, irrespective of what college you are in, the questions are the same, yeah, right? But already having so much pressure, how did you have in you to actually leave all this? Like, don't forget about the job, forget about like the high paying job that MBAs get, forget about all that, and to try and start your own company. What really, like, how did you manage that? If you can just give us some idea into that.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I and Shahid, one of the other co-founders, so been close friends right from the starting of the college, and we, I think, participated in lots of competitions, everything, right? And we would never get through, none of them, right? And after the internship, also we figured, yeah, we will not fit into this corporate, style, right? I mean, I already worked for 3 years with Nestle, so I kind of have some kind of idea how it's going to be. But again, after interning with Amazon, I mean, I felt like I'm not going to fit into this structure anywhere, right? Now, when we looked at the career options that we have, none of the options that come on the campus placements or anything didn't kind of really make sense to us, right? We knew that we're not going to enjoy it, right? I know it's still scary. I mean, I'm still repaying my education loan after 3-4 years of graduating, right? But the other thing that, okay, every day I'm going to hate my job, right, is something which kind of put us away. It's like the loan burden looked much smaller to me compared to the other dissatisfaction you may have at workplace.
That's fantastic. That's if I may, I just have a follow-up question, Banu. This is all good, like, right? It seems great, right? आप ऐसे कुछ कर रहे हो which you really like doing, and you're taking the risk, and when you're in that moment taking the risk, it's also very exciting. Of course, there is uncertainty and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But do you think there is just one way to do and some might do what you have done, like do entrepreneurship. Some might do a job, some might be entrepreneurial in their own job itself. So is there anything that you would like to say all those people who are joining your B school right now, like how can they be more open-minded and like listen to what they really like, and so that they can harness the 2 years of MBA in the best possible way?
So yeah, I would say, I think it should be more about going out there and experimenting, right? So for example, when I was in Roorkee, right, I didn't do anything, right? I would study like a good student. My goal was, okay, reach this certain GPA, right? Watch TV series so that I can improve my language. That's it, right? Did nothing else, right? And then when I moved to work and then realized, boss, okay, I should have done a lot more, right? I think one thing which at least you can start with is, start experimenting at B school, right? I mean, it's not just about getting a GPA and other things, right? It can be doing some side projects or something or the other, right, which will help you figure out what you actually like. It's very easy for you to kind of get carried away with all consulting, IB, high paying jobs, all these big marketing jobs, everything, right? But at least go out, experiment, then you'll at least figure out, right? You'll have more conviction for you to go out and do what you actually like.
Go out and experiment. That's, I think, and it's a great advice to anyone doing MBA, because these 2 years, I think, are probably, for most of you, it might be the best 2 years of your life. And what better time to experiment and try new things when you're in the best frame of mind with the best people around you. Samarth, let me come to you. Samarth, go out and experiment. Now you got a PPO. When it was announced that like all everyone who's doing an internship with BCG is going to get PPO, suddenly for you, you had like more than a year of your MBA life with a settled job, like a sure shot job in a company that you like, right? At this point of time, I want to know what are the different things that you, what are different things you did in the last 1 year with the secure mindset, or what are the things that you did differently? Can you share something?
Yeah, so definitely listening about the announcement was definitely a dream come true, specifically for me because since my undergrad time I was interested in the consulting domain and I was trying to do things that can maybe propel me in this field. So definitely it was wonderful news to hear. Uh, and after that I think it got the pressure off, so I think it gives you more freedom to kind of analyze what kind of role is it. Does it suit your way of working? Does it suit your aspirations, what you want to become, let's say 5 years or 10 years down the line? So I think it gave me more flexibility in terms of experimenting with my learnings. And in terms of a consulting job, I think it also opens up new possibilities for you. So in one project you can get a sense of strategy, marketing, and several other domains at one go. So I think that was a wonderful thing. In terms of my plan ahead, so I still have my second year to go. I'm currently an intern, so I think I haven't thought about what more can be done in
So, but
second year.
I want you to think right now. Tell me things, and it doesn't have to be related to consulting. It doesn't have to be related to your job. Like, what are you most excited about with this free mind? What are you most looking forward to in your second year?
So I think one thing that extra time it can give. So I think now let's say I have some areas of interest. So I think I can pursue them more from like as Bhanu pointed out, more from a project point of view. We can do several other projects. We can get we can do some projects with some organizations that are working in the social impact practices. So I personally like the social impact practice a lot. And because of the COVID pandemic, there are a lot of NGOs doing a lot of good work. So I think as a part of the student community and the NGOs, I think I'll try to explore that space more.
Fantastic, fantastic. You can, so basically you will use this time to work with organizations, work on projects that are more close to your heart, and like you said, you have a secure mindset, and you can probably do way more than what you would have otherwise done. Thanks, Samat. Moving to Akanksha. Akanksha, now gold medalist at IIM Ahmedabad, right? Which is fantastic already, one of the most premier institutes. Not only that, you've also managed to participate in a lot of competitions. You're part of multiple committees, societies. Now, all this doesn't, like, for a normal brain, a normal mind, this doesn't add up. Like, the myth is either you're very good at studies or you're very good at your co-curriculars or extracurriculars, and you can't mix them both, right? This is the myth. Like this is all we have grown up listening to this. या तो पढ़ाई करो या फिर खेल कूद में ध्यान दो, right? So what is your take? Is it necessary for you to always choose between both of them, or you can do both like you have?
So actually at IMA, I mean, everyone is, competing against you, and, you have so much competition and so much pressure at IMA sometimes that, you get that FOMO, and then you want to do everything, right? So just to clarify, the gold medal that I got was an all-rounder gold medal, which was given to me because of all the extracurricular activities that I did, because I was the head of one of the consulting organizations at IMA, because of which I got the gold medal. So in addition to the grades that I got, which was not in the top 20, just to clarify,
Okay.
but but they were decent. But apart from that, I participated in a lot of competitions. Then I was the head of Forum for Industry Interaction, which is the consulting body bringing projects for students at IMA. Other than that, I was doing a lot of projects which were like industrial projects, coming to IMA and, working on consulting projects even before, going out into the real world. So all of this, helped me get that gold medal. And grades are really important for sure, but all of these experiences really matter. And as Ashutosh pointed out, that when you participate in such competitions, you get to meet a lot of people, you get to network, and you get to have that fun, and you brainstorm. So all these experiences matter a lot. So I'm not denying the fact that grades are not important, but when you get into an MBA college, these experiences matter a lot. And then you should just not sit in your room and mug up and just focus on your grades. In addition to that, you need to go out and participate in these competitions, interact with people, network. And at IMA we say that MBA is all about networking that we do. So I guess all of these things are really important, and you can definitely do both. It depends upon how you are managing your time and how you are prioritizing things. So you really need to have your schedule set up where you prioritize that this is important for me and this is not important for me, and then you just somehow figure out ways to do a lot of things when you are in college.
Fantastic. So you're saying it is possible to do both, and you've also given us some idea. Like you said, you're not in the top 10, you're in the top 20 when it comes to academics. Am I right? Are you in the top 20?
I said I'm not even in the top 20.
You're not even in the top 20. All right.
Yeah.
Great. Fantastic. So I relate to you at this part, but I think at some point I'll stop relating to you because I was not even there in the top 200. But that's not the point. You're not saying that academics is not important. You're saying that academics is important, but so is every other thing that you do in your B school, which is a great follow-up I have to Ashutosh. Now, Ashutosh, I know I have a sense of the IMT culture. I'm sure like it evolves, it changes. And I know in IMT, there's a lot of extracurricular, co-curricular activities that keep happening. But one way is that it's very easy for people like you, like all six of you, you are ambitious people, you take on stuff, you like to try new things. But different kinds of people come and do an MBA. It's not easy for everyone. It takes time. So if I am someone who's joined a B school and I'm not someone who's very comfortable like taking chances or even like communicating or talking to people or expressing myself, how does someone like this, someone like him or her, go about still enjoying and experiencing all that 2 years of B school has to offer?
Okay, so starting with my life, so I haven't visited the campus yet. Like I just went for the interview, and then but still, see, if even I was not comfortable talking to people in the starting. So what I used to do, I used to observe people, like who is resonating with me or who is having the same vibe as me, and then I try to talk to them, and then I try to personally message them, and then it's that is how you move on in the at MBA. So after that, what you can do, you can try to form a teams, you can try to have short meetings, try to know people, because everyone is uncomfortable there. Everyone is new, and everyone is so competitive. At the same time, everyone wants to meet new people and know about their life or how they have been through. So it's about meeting people. So you have to take the first step every time.
But डर तो लगता है ना, like डर लगना, it's normal to have that fear, right?
Yes,
because
yes.
Matlab, other person might also have the same fear, but you don't know that, right? And it is not easy. It can be taxing, right? So what is it that one can do to like really feel at ease and at comfort in such situations?
So what you can do, you can start, at least take a step कि आज मैं एक इंसान से बात करूंगा या फिर he is the person I like the most in the group. So try to take a small steps. Try to be part of us. IMT have a lots of clubs and committees. So try to be part of that clubs and committees so that you will get a group of people you are going to interact on a daily basis. If you are working together, obviously you will enjoy it, and then you will get that bond and that kind of friendship, and that you can enjoy. So obviously you have to take the first step. Even I was feared about like how to talk to the people, but just a small. You have to put your foot forward, and then it's easy.
Yeah. Tushar, let me come to you. Do you think like here's where things like in a B school, competitions and group activities, they come to be very handy. Like it doesn't, like when you're part of a group activity, you're part of a group with diverse people, right? Like there are 4 people in your group. Some of them are good at something, some of them are good at something else, and not just about skills even in terms of personalities, it's a great place to balance things out. So do you think that this group dynamics and competitions are really key to you having a fulfilling B school life?
Thank you for your question, Rahul. So yeah, definitely, I believe that these team dynamics and group activities are very important in one's life during his MBA, his or her MBA. However, I have not started my MBA as of now, but yeah, still, from what we have heard or from the competitions that I've taken part in, we have realized that one mind is not good at doing each and every single thing. You cannot do everything by your own self. You need people, and when you work with different people, because in the broader sense, you have to work with that diverse set of people, whether you are going in the corporate world, whether you are going into the social sector, whether you are starting your own company or something, you have to work with different people. And if you are not in that mindset right from the beginning, then it really becomes a big challenge to you in the later phases of life. So yeah, definitely, it's a key factor that one should consider while pursuing his or her MBA.
So let me ask you this. I'm sorry that I know you're going to start your I am Lucknow now. Let me ask you this. Now that you're someone who already does a lot of this, you like taking part in competitions, you like trying new stuff. You already do, like in most people's definition, you're already doing everything which a person would like to do before, like in and B school life. So what is it that you want your B school to surprise you with? What is that one thing you're like, yeah, ye to maine bhi nahi socha tha, and this is amazing. Like, is there some expectation you have from your B school?
Okay, to make it a bit funny on that part, one thing that the B school can surprise me is taking away my sleep, because that is something dearest to me.
Why?
I try to manage my sleep schedules, but I'm completely bad at it, very bad at it. So that is one thing that I can be surprised with. And yeah, when that will come into play, I guess there will be multiple things to handle, a lot of things to manage at our end. And I guess that's something I'll be really surprised with, because I like to take challenges. Like you already mentioned that there are so many things I'm into right now. So yeah, that in itself tells that how much I like to take on different challenges in different fields, be it academics, be it extracurriculars, be it competitions, anything and everything. So yeah, I want to increase the number of challenges. That is something I really look forward to.
All right. Tushar, thank you, bro. Amber, sleep cycle, what do you think? What is you think B school does it even give you a choice? I mean,
I don't think if Tushar is expecting that, he's in for a surprise for sure. Right? So yeah, I mean that's one of the expectations, and that is something you get used to as well, right? So in a B school, sleep is like the last thing on your plate. You'll have so many things taking priority over sleep. You'll have your acads, and if you are prepping for case competitions or CAT committee work, and there are so many things going on at the same time, you won't even want to sleep. So I mean, I don't think sleep is something which should be expecting from a B school. But yeah, I mean, 4 to 5 hours is something which on a good day you'll get for sure.
Amber, I'm going to pick your brain on one more thing. So we've all spoken about how important is networking, how important it is to fight your inhibitions first. All this success and all to ek baat hai. It's all about how do you grow as a person, because I think B schools give you a fantastic opportunity to grow as an individual. Now, someone who has had WorkX, you had WorkX before you joined your B school, right?
Yeah, I have WorkX.
Yeah, so someone who had WorkX, did your perspective, or did you notice that your perspective towards B school was different from people who were just joining as freshers? And did that help you, or was that counterproductive for you?
I believe it's both ways in a way. There are pros and cons as well. So like you said, right, the biggest pro is that you have a certain perspective of the industry. You have a perspective of the corporate life, right? So as you would have also experienced, B school life is very different from your undergraduate life, right? So in a B school, you are more competitive and you are more inclined towards making networks as compared to making friends. So there are certain small differences which, if you already have a WorkX, you are more accustomed to, and you're able to adapt to the life in a better way. Then other than that, of course, the interview process and overall placement cycles and all, you are sort of more comfortable with it because you have experienced it before, right? So that is the pros, I believe. From the con side, I think WorkX can sort of bias you as well to a certain extent, right? You sort of have some set expectations which if are not fulfilled, you are sort of, sometimes you might feel lost also. But so that is where freshers have an advantage. I feel, they come with an open mind, right? So some working folks I met had a very parochial mindset of what to expect from an MBA. So I mean, it's a bit of both, in my opinion, if you ask me.
It's a bit of both. I'm sure that makes sense also, right? I mean, you can always turn whatever you have into an opportunity, or you can look at it and say that you missed out. It's the choice is yours, right? I get that. Samarth, now you also work for the PlaceCom. Now, if there is anyone in a B who has lived a B school life, knows that if there is one committee that works way too hard, spends a lot of time working, and also gets both criticism and accolades equally, is the placement committee. How has this, like, have you ever been part of anything like this in your life before?
So while I was at IT Roorkee, I got a chance to be a part of different clubs. So I was also a part of the cultural fest Thomso at IT Roorkee. Similarly, I was from mechanical, so I was a part of the automotive club. But I definitely felt that in terms of professionalism and the hour, like the work hour commitment, MBA placement committees are very different from undergrad or even different committees at the MBA schools. Because I think they manage a very crucial part of the MBA life, about which everyone is very concerned and everyone is very well informed, and everyone has certain targets to meet. And they have a very important work of liaising between the administration, the companies, and the student aspirations. So I think definitely this is a whole new different experience in terms of learning, because I think it has taught me a lot about people dynamics, because it involves a lot of expectation management and also like a lot of guidelines that we have to set. So I think it is completely new experience and completely wonderful to work with a lot of people who are as motivated as you to put in those hours. And like we are talking about sleep, so again you have to sacrifice your sleep and social life also at times to ensure that you can meet the expectations of the friends you have at your college.
Fantastic. Banu, let me come to you. From being part of a B school, you're probably the one who has, I mean, in terms of seniority, you're probably the oldest. Like, you finished your MBA in 2018. It's been over
Yeah.
3 years now, right? I'm sure you miss your B school now. From being part of this whole process of attending interviews, mock interviews, and stuff. Now you might be you're in a position where you're actually hiring new people also. Right. So I just want to ask you this new shift that happens when you do an entrepreneurship. It's because when you work in a company, you get, in some way, you get a chance to learn, you get to be mentored, and you can slowly go up the ladder, and it's a more organic way of doing stuff. But when you start a company immediately after being a student, the shift is huge, right? From being part of a friend circle and enjoying and doing stuff together, suddenly now you're responsible for a company, you're responsible for hiring new people. Are there anything that you learned in your 2 years in B school that helped you with managing a team, not just managing, like leading a team, that you would like to share with us?
I would say a major thing would be, right, at least especially in your B school, right, you always think about it in terms of Excel sheets or presentations or plans and all of this, right? Now, those things don't matter more than 10%, I would say, right? Because let's say any course that you're doing, right? There's a specific case that you're solving, you come up with a presentation, you put it out there. But when you get into the field, none of those things are going to work, right? Yeah. One thing that you have to kind of always do is, I mean, how are you going to figure out things on the fly? You cannot plan for any of these things, right? A lot of times, all these plans, okay, this is my 3-year projection or this is my 4-year projection, right? At least at FinShots and at Ditto, we have scrapped all the plans every 3 months, right?
But how important was it to make those plans in the first place? It doesn't matter whether, like, irrespective of whether they worked out or not. How important was for you to go through the process and your team to create those plans, to have some target in mind, and then and then see how it goes? How important was that?
I would say a rough outline should be more than sufficient. As in, like, so the core idea should be there, right? As in, like, okay, what are the some things that you're kind of always going to do with, right? So you kind of draw your own boundary, saying, okay, see, this is the things that I'm not going to do as a company, right? For example, when we are kind of right now in a place where we can sell a lot of financial products, right? We don't do that mainly because, for example, on FinShorts, we write something called as FinShorts markets, where we talk about stock markets. A lot of people come and ask, hey, you have to, why don't you tell me which stock to buy? You know a lot of things, right? But you still don't do it because we know it's a futile exercise, right? So you draw those boundaries always, and you kind of try to work out things within that itself, right? Yeah. So the plans and everything is, I would say, is only about figuring out what things you are ready to do and what things you're not ready to do. Direction. That's it. Timelines is not at all in your control, right? You always think, oh, in 2 months I'll reach this. I'll hire people in 2 months. Nothing is going to happen. I mean, you never know, right? There are places where I spent 6 months trying to find a right person to join the team, right? Now, what will you do if you're getting a person after 6 months? Entire plan goes for a toss.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What I really got from what Banu, apart from all the technical details, what I really got from you, because you're an entrepreneur now, you have embraced uncertainties in a sense. Like you when you were talking about so many things which are so uncertain, you have to work. I spent 6 months trying to hire someone. We made plans, the plans go haywire and all that. You are okay with that at some level, which is like you have embraced the uncertainty and you're looking at the exciting part of uncertainty rather than the unknown part and like how it can cause fear. So which is great, and I must thank you for sharing that. That's something I'm learning today from you. Now I'm going to open this up to all of you now, and we'll go one by one. And now the questions are not going to be serious. We have talked a lot of serious stuff, right? And we got a sense from all of you as to what you guys are doing and how and what are you passionate about and stuff like that. I'm going to ask you one thing, and for Tushar, because you're just going to start B school, this question for you will be, when you join a B school, right? I just want you guys to tell me one thing that you did in your B school life, and let it not be anything related to career, growth and stuff. One thing that you did in your B school life, which you never thought you would do, and you ended up doing in those 2 years. We'll start with Banu. Yes, Banu.
I would say starting up. I never thought I'll get into this.
You never thought in your life. You never thought.
No, absolutely never.
How much credit do you give your B school for that?
I would say 100% of it.
All right. Fantastic.
Even in the until.
Sorry. Go on,
Yeah,
Banu. Sorry.
Even for the entire first year, also, I never thought I'll get into doing something like this.
Fantastic. Ashutosh, I know you're still part of it, but one thing.
So for me, it's like sleep. Sleep means my sleep cycle is so disturbed. Like if I want to sleep, I try to sleep at 3 a.m. I wake up, I slept at 6 a.m. Like basically my sleep cycle is so bad that even if I try to sleep at 12 a.m., I will go to 6 a.m. So I cannot sleep. So that is the thing I thought of, that I won't be able, I would get at least 4 to 5 hours of sleep, but at IMT, I believe that you can't sleep.
It's just like a background, right, Tushar? Someday you're in Africa time, someday you're in Australia time. You never know what time. Sleep cycle, something that you never thought you will have such a random sleeping times and stuff. Ambar?
Well, it's kind of similar to what Ashutosh said. So I stayed up for 44 hours at a stretch, something which I never thought I'd do in my life. So that's even after that, pata nahi chala. And then even after that, I was more looking forward to like chilling and partying rather than sleeping. So that's it.
All right. Akanksha?
So yeah, I could really relate to Ashutosh and Amber on the sleeping thing. And, I remember I used to sleep like 4 or 5 hours a day and then, attend a class at 8:45 in the morning in the normal times when we had offline classes. So that was an amazing experience. Other than that, I remember when I participated in my first competition, one of my first competition, which was Accenture B School Challenge. And, there's so much competition everywhere, not just IMA, the other B schools as well, that, I was like, I could not even, clarify the college, the B school, the IMA round. And then, when I reached the finals and, when we won that was an amazing thing for us. And that was one thing that I could never imagine that, you'd be able to do. But yeah, we just went for it and just got it. So that was amazing.
Yeah, of course. When you put so much hard work into it without even realizing like
Yeah,
how time is going or how much time, the rewards are really satisfying. And yes,
definitely.
Samarth, buddy?
Yeah, so I think I also relate with like all the people who talked about sleep cycle.
Yeah, no, come on,
But
you have to give something different now.
yeah, but on
We
a
all
fun
know,
note,
and Tushar also knows now the sleep cycle is something it's not in his control. We've got that. Okay, we want something else now.
yeah, so on a fun note, I was thinking that one thing which happened actually, which I didn't intend to do, was missing one of your virtual shows that happened at IMB because we had some kind of tutorial at that time. So that was
That was the
not
fun thing. To
expected.
miss my show was the fun thing. Great,
Not
great.
the fun thing, I would
Fantastic.
say something which I had not expected myself, that I would miss
Yeah.
one of your shows, but because of the hectic schedule or my time mismanagement, I had to miss it. So I think that is on a fun note, something I was
That
not
sounds fun.
expecting.
So fantastic. Missing out on a show, which a free show in that sense, which otherwise you would have not done. That's something which you think you would have never done, and that's what something you did in your B school life. Fantastic. That show was not that worth it. Okay, they gave me good money, I must say, but you didn't miss much. So much. Next time I'm performing in your city, I'll call you. You can come anytime.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
All right, Banu.
Yeah. Thing that I miss, or I thought
Yeah.
I'll
No. Something that you did different.
differently. I would say taking courses like Bhagavad Gita, things like that.
Thanks. Something like this. I was
Yeah.
looking for something like.
So we I think in second year, right? I took most of the unconventional courses, right? So at least in undergrad, it's always about okay, this data structures course is going to help the backup for placements and all of that.
Yeah.
I think here I took Bhagavad Gita, participatory theater, right? There is one course called Exploring Roles and Identities, all humanities courses, right? That is something which was really fun.
Fantastic. All right, Tushar, buddy, you've heard all of that. Sleep cycle is something which we know, right? But what is that one thing? Tell me one thing that you would love to do, which has got nothing to do with your job, career, but just something you want to make use of when you're doing your 2 years of B school.
So honestly saying, I would like to take on something in music, because that is one avenue I have not yet discovered. I'm trying to pursue it slowly and steadily at my own personal end for now. But yeah, that is something I want to take up, because like in my undergrad as well, I took up dramatics for the first time, which was a completely new thing for me. I've never been into dramatics, and I have vague stories where I've acted like a jerk, ending up doing nothing in dramatics, related to dramatics. But yeah, I ended up taking dramatics in my undergrad, and that was really amazing, that 1 or 2 years I gave in. And similarly, I would like to do something in the music field.
Fantastic. I'm sure you'll get so much opportunities, and I'm sure you'll do all that you ever wished for. Ankit Agarwal is here. Ankit, if you don't mind, I have one question for you also, if you don't mind. Now, Ankit is my senior from IMT, and as you can see, Ankit has also, although he's organizing competitions, he has dared to compete under is something that he's working on. But in a sense, he has also dared to do something very different from what he had done. Ankit, सीरियस सवाल नहीं पूछूंगा, मुझे एक चीज जानना है. Competitions are very important for a B school life. हम सबको पता है. We've all done that. We've all seen people doing it around you. But again, this question is for you. Coming back, there's one thing about being competitive, other thing about taking loss or victory to your heart. How do you as a student balance this both? How do you enjoy being part of competitions, but also not get demotivated with the result, whether you do well or not? How do you do that? What is your suggestion?
I mean, very, very frankly, there have been a lot of, I think, cases where we ourselves don't know what's happening next. We just learn from it and move forward. And typically, I'll give you one example in Dare to Compete Ignite itself, right? We did everything possible, okay, to ensure that D2C Ignite goes smooth. Still, we got that 2-minute technical glitch, okay, and that was only because there are 7,000 people watching, which we didn't expect. We were expecting only 3,000, 3,500, but 7,000 people came in. 3,000 people were doing the treasurer, and so all good. Okay, so there was actually a good thing in that as well. Now we'll basically see through how to get past that. But during my MBA life, there have been lots of cases. But I mean, the only thing is you can't cry about it.
You can't cry about it. You can't. MBA doesn't give you time to cry about it. That's one thing that you like, even if you want
आज
to.
अगर प्रोफेसर से डांट पड़ी है तो दूसरा प्रोफेसर आने वाला है. You can't cry in the next lecture.
You can't cry. I can't even say how much I relate to what you're saying, Ankit. And someone who has had all these, like Professor said, Dart Padna was like my passion in a sense. So I know what. So now this is a question again. So I am someone who never took part in any competitions. Okay, I took part in competitions, but not really managed. I took part in competitions like press conference and cultural stuff. Never into anything. I did not take part in any of these. What do you call group project competitions, or say the L'Oreal competition, or Mahindra had something. I work for Mahindra. I forgot what did Mahindra have? Mahindra has a competition, right?
Mahindra
War Room and stuff like that. I remember when War Room happened, I I woke up at around 10 a.m. and my roommate told me that Mahindra War Room ke log aaye hain and they're giving free t-shirts. So I just went, I collected the free t-shirt. I still have it. And then I was called the next year because I got a PPO from Mahindra. So I was called to motivate people of my college, saying how they should participate in War Room. And I felt like this was so not right, because I missed Mahindra War Room
Or
completely. So
rather,
I
this
just
was
told.
so simple, right? Distribute t-shirts again.
Yeah, that's what I said. So please participate in any competition that give you t-shirts. Someone said, but what if someone gives a cap? I didn't have an answer for that. So I was not very quick on my feet at that point of time. But again, let's come back to these competitions. Now, I want you guys to share one experience of any, and I'm let's not keep it to B school. And I'm going to include Ankit also in it, because Ankit is part. One incident of you being part of a competition where you didn't succeed. I think it's very important for all of us to understand that it's not about winning. So I want you to tell like one incident where you didn't succeed and how you felt. Whatever be the feeling, you felt bad, disappointed, okay, whatever. So we'll go one by one. Let's make it quick. We'll start with Ashutosh.
Yeah.
Not the success part. We want to talk about the failure part.
Yeah, so I still remember. So basically, what happened, I had already won 2 competitions, it was HUL Lime and Mintra. And then there was Marico over the wall. So I was so overconfident. Basically, my team was so overconfident. Like, we had already cracked 2 competition. We are so good. And we didn't brainstorm much. Directly, we came to the idea and like, this is the best idea. And then when the result came up, we were shocked. Like, it was like a setback to us at that time. Like, whatever you do, you won that competition. That is fine. This is a new competition. You have to give your best, else you are again at the foot of your pyramid. So that was a very good setback for us. Like from that day onwards, our team is like, this is new competition. You have to work harder for that. Yeah. So that was a learning, more of a learning, that never be overconfident of anything. Whatever you achieve in your life or whatever you are doing right now, you will have a setback and that will push you to the bottom. So yeah.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. So basically, like they say in cricket, you're only good as the last match you have played. And it's very important. Although all of us might go through this, there is nothing wrong. We all might feel overconfident at different points of time. But I think what Ashutosh is highlighting is that it's important to like reset, realize that you're being overconfident, and so that you learn from it in future tests or like future endeavors. Akanksha?
Yeah, so 2 incidents. So something similar to what Ashutosh shared. Once I started winning competition, I thought I've got that key to winning competitions. And, you have to put that similar framework and similar structure, and, you are just through it and you'll win that competition. But that doesn't work, because the same structure, the same framework, or, the same thought process doesn't work for all the competitions. And then there were 2-3 competitions in a line that we did not win. And then, we got demotivated. So that was one. So that was an incident once we started winning competition. But in my first year, one of my first competitions that I participated in was HUL Line. And I didn't know anyone. So I just, picked up 2 random friends, and, we were really excited and we formed a team. And, that was the first time we pulled an all-nighter, and we were really confident about our solution and everything. But, we did not even clear the first round of it. And that was really, really disheartening that, we had put in so much efforts and it did not come through. So yeah, that was really sad. But, so that's the reason in second year when I started participating in competitions again, I had a hitch that, it's very difficult and, I won't be able to get there, win any competition. But, I just started again and, kind of prepared myself, and then, I was there. So yeah, a failure, and then, you do get successful later in life if you, keep working hard towards it.
Yeah. Although you felt very demotivated after like losing the competition, which you thought you can, but I think it's also great you gained a great experience of how to like forming a team, working on tight deadline, working together, and I think those experiences are what are the most important thing, and that's what I'm sure must have helped you in future also when you won those competitions.
Yeah, one of the suggestions that I would really like to give to all the students who are, going to join the IIMs and the other B school is that standing there, you won't realize that, this losing is also helping you. But, 2 years ahead now where I'm standing, I can see that, how all those experiences, whether it was losing or it was winning, that really, really helped me and, helped me achieve what I have today and where I am today. So all of these experiences are really important when you're part of B school.
Fantastic. Competitions teach you irrespective of whether you win or lose. I think that's the best part, and that's why people should participate in as many competitions as they can, and B school is the best place to do that. Ambar, what is your experience of losing or failing at something?
Sure. So to be honest, I haven't taken part in a lot of case competitions, but there's this one experience which I'd like to share. So this was a case competition by RB, and so we reached the campus final, but there we were not able to like make it to the next round. So we were the second best team there, and only one team could advance. So my experience there, so of course I was disheartened, and had worked really hard, and it was not overconfidence or anything of like that sort either. But it's just sometimes I realized that even when you put your best, sometimes you might not succeed, and it's not just about the result, but I feel it's more about the journey as well, because through the overall experience, I was able to learn so much about businesses, about how to sell a product, and then so many things which you learn on the way, and that is something which stays for you longer than the result itself.
Fantastic. Again, so reiterating, I really love what all of you guys are saying, and this is what I'm getting out of it. It's like, it's not about winning, but it is about participating. It is about experiencing, and you never know what will help you in future. And sometimes it might be the failure, sometimes it might be your lack of ability at that point of time, but everything adds up, everything helps you irrespective. Like even now, I'm so thankful for all the things that I did in my B school. I'm doing nothing related to what I studied. I did engineering, I did MBA, and now I'm doing something completely different. But I would be lying if I say that none of those experiences helped. In fact, all of them helped. All of them guided me towards getting where I am today. Banu, someone I'm sure as an entrepreneur, failure is failure is part of life now, right? And there's good in it too, right? So I would like to know your experience of failing at something which gave you confidence or learned
so I think so Reliance had one event where you can actually present a live business case. It's not about their cost competition, but basically you pitch your own startup out there. If they like, they'll just kind of give you money, right? I think we were the last in that. I mean, there are like 4 or 5 that made it to the campus finale or something, right? Yeah, and we were the last in that. So that was kind of I would say pretty harsh on us back then, because it's like, I'm leaving my job, doing all this stuff, right? And still it's like nobody understood what we're trying to do. Yeah, but I think at least the right side about all of these competitions is that so I found my other co-founders through these competitions itself. Right? So we didn't even have a skill set, right? To be honest, when we decided to jump into this, right, I was supposed to be the product guy. Pawan is supposed to be the finance guy, but when we actually came out and doing stuff, somebody else become the finance guy, somebody else become the product guy, right? We didn't even have a specific skill set or who is going to do what, but we kind of know, okay, we enjoy working with each other, right? So that's one thing that you develop at least, during this competitions or group projects or something. At least the working ethic is something which you would kind of learn.
Fantastic. You found your co-founders in a competition that you lost, which you thought was very harsh. I mean, see, look at the silver lining of this. Samarth, buddy.
Yeah, so one thing I remember is that from undergrad, so in my second year, I participated in a competition. And actually, it was during the summer time when my internship of second year was going on in a company. So actually, the prize and my motivation for participating was that it had a camp of around 7 days outside India in one country. And I was really motivated and interested to go outside.
Which country? No, let's also get equally motivated, and then with the failure, like it will be true for us also when we hear from you. Which country
Yeah,
was it?
I think it will be obvious. So let's say it's a country in Europe, and I was really looking forward to it. And actually, it really hurt me when I was not selected because during my internship time, I used to it, and it had a very long process in terms of it. You had to submit an essay, and you have to also record a video where you have to answer some questions. So it had a very elaborate 3-step process, and I kind of did it with my internship. So I used to stay in my office late at night, and I used to find a lone corner to record the video on my laptop. But I think I didn't win it. But two important points I would like to make: that retrospection is definitely one very important thing. But what I learned personally from that, not getting through in the competition, is one was trying to find a mentor. Because many times, even in retrospection, we cannot see a lot of mistakes that we are doing because of our mental level is up to a certain standard in some age or in some year at college. So I think finding a mentor who has gone through all those stages is very important to give you more insights which you are even not familiar with. And second point is to use that failure as a fuel to motivate you. So for example, I was really motivated, so what I did is I then the next thing I saw that is an opportunity for me to go outside was to get a research internship outside India. So I really worked hard towards it, tried to develop my profile in 1 year, and I was fortunate to get an internship, foreign internship, after 1 year. So I think it's important to use it as a fuel and not get disheartened, like we are all are talking, and use basically learn from the mistakes and use them to propel you in accomplishing whatever you are trying to do. For example, in my case, I was trying to go outside India, so that was something which I remember.
So don't look at the failure as a bad thing, basically. In fact, look at it like smile at it, and you might find a silver lining which you would otherwise not find. So every time there is a failure, you're saying like, hey, isse kya seekh sakte hai? I mean, be excited about that too, as much as you are excited about winning something, right? I think again, that's a great lesson out there, which I completely resonate with. Tushar, buddy.
Yes, Rahul.
Yes, the same question to you. Failure.
So in my undergrad, like my MBA hasn't started yet. So in my undergrad, I took part in multiple competitions, and it ranged from case study competitions to B plan competitions and paper presentation competitions as well. So I won many big competitions at that time, like in B school competitions like IIMs, IMT, and many competitions. So what happened is after that, I took part in one competition in IMT Ghaziabad particularly, and it was a B plan presentation competition, wherein we were among the top 10 finalists which were shortlisted. However, 5 or 6 teams were from IMT only amongst those top 10 teams, and that was one competition wherein we were not even in the top 5. So that was a really big factor which disheartened me. But after that, we realized that yes, there were some things which we need to work upon, because we had been a little bit overconfident because of the previous winnings that we had. And so there were learnings for us definitely from that aspect as well.
Fantastic. Ankit, we'll come to you also. I don't know if we can put you on the spotlight. Ankit, I want to know from you, because I really think, like, to everyone who's watching this, they should know that failure is a part of life, and not to take so much pressure. In fact, that should not stop you from trying and participating stuff. And Ankit, I am sure you have had so much success, but I'm sure being starting your own venture, you have also faced failures. So just give us one of the best failures that you've had, so that we can get inspired by
I think for me, the best, I won't call it a failure technically. 2 years down, so this is in 2019. Okay. So we thought that everybody is looking out for funding. Why not? Let's go out and look out for funding, right? It's not just like Bhanu said, right? First of all, Bhanu, I love FinShots. Okay. Every day, that's my go-to. It puts me to sleep in a nicer manner, that I basically put my earphones on, get that podcast and go to sleep along with some others as well. But so when I basically pitched for let's say funding, right? And imagine that's my first pitch. Okay, it went really well according to me, and the investor said, "This is pathetic. What are you doing?" And there was a huge gap between what I was talking about and what they were thinking about or what they heard, right? And that basically gave me a clue in terms of, boss, am I wrong or are they wrong? And eventually I thought that both of us have different viewpoints, and I think in my next pitch I should incorporate those viewpoints. And that is similar to the competitions, right? Because you have won 3 competitions, you don't know who were the jury members, right? Or what should be covered in those competitions or so. Effectively, we did about 2 or 3 pitches. At the end of the day, I basically came to a point that, hey, even if they are saying yes, they are probably giving me funding at a valuation or at a percentage which I'm not agreeing to, because we are profitable, we are running the business or so. And then that day I took a call that, hey, boss, I won't look out for funding. Let me go and bootstrap my business. I think that was the best call that I took in terms of where I was 2 years back. Where are we right now in terms of all the clients, all the businesses or so? No equity diluted. We are doing phenomenally well. So I think that.
And you're absolutely happy the way things have turned out.
Oh yeah, obviously. I mean, today, absolutely happy. All the bright faces or so. Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. I think this is such a great thing, and I know I'm again, so because I'm relating it to it so much, because I was part of the B school culture, and I know how difficult it is to participate and do things in areas which are not your strength, or which you're like afraid of or scared of, and most of the fear is from failure. It's so great to hear from all of these wonderful people who have been successful, but who have also failed enough, which is, I think that's the main thing. Failures will be a part of your life. Enjoy the failure, learn from it. And I think that's a great thing. I'm going to end this panel with one last question to all of you. Again, I'm going to keep the theme of it same. We're going to encourage and motivate people by talking about our shortcomings. So one thing that all of you have to say, one thing that you're not good at and you're still working at, anything from your personal side as to what is that one thing you're still working at and hopefully planning to become better at. We'll start with Amber.
Sure. So for me, one thing which I feel I can be better at is
Amber, we can't.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Can you guys hear him? Is it just me?
Hello, yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Is it better?
Yes.
Rahul, we can hear
you. Am I audible or?
Go for it.
Sure, I will just continue. So.
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm sorry. Yeah, go for it.
Sure. So one thing which I feel I sort of am slightly lacking in is probably time management. So before MBA, you never actually get the chance to do so many things at the same time, right? So you feel that you're a good time manager, but when you enter MBA, everything changes, right? You are suddenly reality hits and you realize that, there are so many other things which you can do. So it kind of stretches you to your limits. So yeah, so that's what I realized when I joined XLRI, that, taking up things requires you to be able to prioritize them as well. So that is what I have been trying to improve and inculcate in my lifestyle. Yeah.
Right. Time management. Great. So let's keep it, we'll keep it really short. Time management is something which Amber hopes to improve on and is still working on. Samarth, what about you?
So I think I can improve on multitasking. So what I've realized that in MBA you have to do a lot of things in parallel, and there is always a lot on your plate. But I am the kind of person who tries to take my time and focus on one thing, which kind of lets me to prioritize among the various things. So I think personally think if I can improve on multitasking, then I can I can accomplish more in the limited time we have.
Great. So you want to work on multitasking. Ashutosh, buddy?
I want to work on the fitness part. Like from last 1 or 2 years, there are days when I'm skipping one meal, or there are days when I'm skipping almost to all the meals. and I'm eating junk food, and also I want to focus on my health now after all this.
Fantastic. Extremely important. It does everything else can wait, and everything else you can take your sweet time, but health is something which you need to prioritize. So great. Then we got time management, we got multitasking, we got health. Tushar, buddy, what is the one thing that you want to improve on?
So, like previously, Bhanu mentioned on the call that entering into all the fields is sometimes a futile effort. So that happens with me at a lot of times. Like I keep too many things on my plate, and I end up missing on a couple of them. And one or two things can be important in them, and other ones being non-important. So I want to restrict myself to the not restrict. Restrict won't be the right word, but I want
prioritize
to prioritize appropriately. Like what are the important things which need more focus, and the other things can be left upon. You cannot do each and every single thing.
Absolutely. Prioritization. So Samath is working on doing multiple things together. That's his weakness. And Tushar wants to prioritize. Like, Are do cheez side mein rakh sakte hain. Let's focus on these 3 or 4 things. All right. Akanksha.
So I really connect with Ashutosh on the fitness part. I've been trying to follow a fitness regime, but haven't been able to do that. Other than that, I think sometimes I take too much on my plate, and that is something similar to Tushar. And I think that trusting people is very important, and delegating things is very important. So when you form teams, and even when you're working at your job, it's very important to see what is important for you to do and delegate the other things, and not take all the pressure upon yourself. So not taking everything on your plate and delegating stuff is something which is very important, and which will really help students who are entering these schools, that you do not have to do everything yourself. You have to take help of others, and delegate stuff, and divide the pressure basically.
Yeah, sum is greater than the parts. It's very well said. It's B schools give you opportunities to work in team, but we have this ego inside us. Like what if they don't do it properly? What if they are not the right people? We need to throw that away at some point and trust people. It's a great point. It's not just with B school. It's like moving forward in life also. Trusting someone else who thinks differently from you, but can probably deliver better than you. You need to have that in you. It's a great point. Banu, buddy. You're on mute. That's how you know when someone's passed out from B school and become a corporate,
Yeah. I'm still bad at public speaking. I mean, every time I have to come out and speak, I still feel nervous.
Fantastic. Are you doing something about it? Are you doing something to?
Yeah, just participating in as many public events as possible. I think that's the only way you can do it.
Great. I think that's such a different answer from others. Public speaking, it's something you want to improve on. So I think we've got a good bunch of things. We got multitasking, we got time management, we got prioritization, we got trusting others, fitness, which Ashutosh said, and Banu summed it up by saying public speaking is one area that he wants to improve on. I will close it by asking Ankit, and Ankit, I will allow you to close this session after you say one thing that you want to improve on, Ankit.
I think we've been trying at least one campaign to go viral since 18 months now. Very frankly, none of us have been able to crack that factor through which any campaign goes viral. My team doesn't have a clue. I don't have a clue. The campaigns that did go viral for us, 2 of them, we didn't have a clue why did they go viral. So we're still learning in terms of what's happening, and that's where I want to learn and have that back in terms of what should work, where, and when.
Look, I think you cracked it. The way to get anything viral is by keep doing it, so that if you do 100 times, 10 times it will be viral, 90 times it won't be.
All 100 times, efforts are done, resources are taken, money are gone. Yeah. So that's why we need to have that knack as well.
Fantastic. Success. Yeah. But Ankit, personally, ye to ho gaya, your company, personally, what is the one thing that you want to improve on?
I think personally, it's the trust factor, very frankly. See, as a startup founder, you need to have trust in your founding team. It's very, very critical. Whether they are founders or not, it doesn't matter, right? So everybody talked about multitasking, prioritizing, and basically managing tasks efficiently, right? If you see all of that, if you can't trust people, you can't prioritize your tasks because you won't be able to give those tasks to different people, right? I can't delegate. I need those kind of people whom I can delegate those tasks and be rest assured that bol diya na ho jayega. So I think that is something that I need to develop, because I need to develop that trust faster, or rather my team tells me that I develop that trust quicker than I should be, because then I leave it to them ki yaar kar lo. Then I don't follow up and all of that. So I think the trust is something that I need to figure out personally.
Fantastic. So again, so just to sum it up, I think this will like really wonderful to have all of you. My key takeaways are from the fact that you guys have done some amazing stuff, but you've also failed in life, which is important. And only when you try, you will get an opportunity to succeed as well as fail. And the key learnings, key takeaways, the things that you all want to improve on, I'm going to say that again, because a lot of you watching will also feel the same way or connect to at least one of them. Multitasking, someone wants to be good at multitasking, someone wants to be good at prioritization, time management, fitness, like Ashutosh said, very important. Also Akanksha said that, trusting people, which Akanksha and Ankit both say, and Banu wants to improve on public speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being part of this. I had a great time, and I really hope that everyone who's watching could at least get like something out of this, because at the end of the day, all of you are bound to succeed, and all of you also will have failures. But the fact is that the moment you start embracing that, like these guys have done, you will enjoy the process better. Thanks everyone, Akanksha, Amber, Samarth, Ashutosh, Tushar, and Banu, and most importantly, thanks Ankit for having me in this panel. I had a great time. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Rahul, for accepting our invite. I'm sure this was fun. This was learning experience, and thank you so much for coming in.
Pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So with this, it has been a very great evening, right? Now we have reached to that part of the day where we have to say bye. But before we say bye, let us see the winners of the treasure hunt contest. Trust me, 3,500 people started the treasure hunt, roughly about that number. 1,000 people at every point in time were at different levels when we were releasing the scores, the answers, and all. And as I saw few minutes back, about 900 people or 800 people finished the treasure hunt. And out of those, the top 20 people who finished the treasure hunt first are. Can I have that screen? Can we have a big round of applause for these winners? And if you see the time, all of them finished around 5 o'clock, just after when I revealed. All of you will get the samples in the next few days by different companies. And thank you so much for participating. With this, we come to the end of Ignite. A journey of 1,000 miles begin with a single step. Like I said earlier, Dare to Compete is here to help you alongside this journey. We will stand by you, bring you the best that the world has to offer. Take care, stay safe, and Godspeed. Thank you so much. Bye.